Yeah, basically for the rest of the week it's 31 degrees here, Kev.
Man, you should come down here.
And kick a wallaby?
No, and ice skate down your driveway. Because the frost froze up your driveway.
So basically you go out there and you find a frozen wallaby and you kind of like knock it off and bring it in the
There are no wallabies here.
Shut up, there's wallabies.
I think we might start being able to
What's a wallaby?
Little kangaroo.
Oh, it's native to New Zealand.
No, it's not at all. It's native to Australia. I'm just being a dickhead.
Probably nothing we can do unless you do
That was
something
Curly who was from Australia.
Yes, but even still, I'm just being a dick.
31's chilly.
No, that's I wish it was. That's in friggin'
No, I know Celsius. It's 38 Celsius here,
kind of,
or it was today.
oh God,
What?
jadedly
I believe it.
be like, well, let me know where that gets you.
How have you all not died from heat stroke?
I stay inside.
AC.
Yeah. AC in the car, AC in the house, AC at work.
All the air conditioning.
I work out in the sun, and it's been in the triple digits this whole entire month and a half.
Sarah, you might need to turn on mic gain. I can barely hear you.
Test.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Alright, let me pour some hot water into this milk. And then forget to add in the coffee, so it's just watered down milk.
Walk over to Eric.
This is hot. This is like hot milk. Ugh.
Could you pick those up?
Hot water down milk. There's a difference.
It's still bad either way.
Agreed.
There's no win in that.
I'm gonna go refill my coffee.
Thank you for the one note. I'm gonna start putting my notes in here.
Oh yeah, the OneNote. Alright, so let me know when we're ready to get started.
What do you suggest we do to get her back? We literally have no way of getting her back right now. We can't even contact Astra again. It took her spell to do that the first time. How are you going to even contact her?
I'm ready.
Yeah, just whenever.
Right, okay. So, Rum stuff, sorry, Obadiah stuff, we've pretty much figured out off camera.
Two things. Don't ask.
Yeah, basically he went and saw Jade Battlestone, turned it in. Her and her, like some associates of hers, together with Obadiah, worked together over the course of a couple of days to put together this, for lack of a better term, artifact from a bygone era. They made two copies of which one Obadiah was essentially given, and the other one is in possession of Battlestone. As well, Battlestone gifted Obadiah a barrel whose rifling, instead of just being grooves, it's actually grooves filled in with silver sigils. And he spent together his time putting together his ridiculous rifle. And it is ridiculous.
I did have to buy a sniper rifle,
Yeah.
and I did have to dip into the funds for 150 gold, but I didn't
Did
mark
you-
it down.
Did you deduct that already?
I did deduct it.
Okay. All right. So
I literally have 28 gold left, and I'm very happy with it.
together with that and converting all of your rifle caliber ammunition to the ammunition for your new contraption, Griswold's Revenge, which fires a much heavier caliber bullet. I'm talking about comparison, like your hyena fired like a 308, and like
Yeah, this is a 50 cal.
Griswold's Revenge kit fires like precisely a 50 cal. So it's like in terms of mass, it's probably more than twice the bullet weight. Typically, as far as you understand, a sniper rifle in non-military applications is typically used to hunt elephants and other assorted big game.
Crocodiles, just saying.
Maybe if they are really big crocodiles. But yeah, typically it's a breech loading rifle. So you break open. It's like a shotgun basically. You break open the breech.
No, it's 3 rounds.
But
It's the chamber because I rolled so high.
yeah, but you modified essentially a revolving cylinder for 3 shots. Rifle looks a little bit odd, but hey, that's the thing about a custom rifle. Yeah. So next, I think we'll jump to Milo. Milo, I believe you said you wanted to put together your mending cart.
Yeah, he's concentrating on 3 things. Kind of in this order: spells, learning new spells, and I've put them on my character sheet already. The mobile mending, or the Milo's mending mobile will probably be number 2, and then if there is time, he will look into his patents and other things, and to see if anybody has like claimed them or whatnot.
All right. So how many spells did you learn, and what levels were they?
All 3rd level spells, 6 total.
So that would take you most of the day, I think.
Oh yeah. It's taken up a good chunk of the time. So I don't know I don't know how long the patent thing will actually take. That's just why I threw that.
Not really that long. You could probably go do that and then just spend the rest of your day working on your mending cart. So I don't think the mending cart is possibly ready. Like I think the fixtures and all the the physical construction itself you could probably get done. But like in order to either spell work it and so that it's self-propelled or install some sort of steam engine into it, would probably take you some more effort.
Yeah, I'm imagining that he's got the frame and everything put together, but like you said, it doesn't have how it's going to be propelled.
At the moment, you could probably just hook it up to the horse with a harness, and it can pull it easily enough.
Yeah, and I also understand that I'm not going to have enough time to actually go ahead and go around and use it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like part A. Part B will be warding it and doing a bunch of other stuff with it down the road.
Right. So when you visit the patent office, the clerk, when you inquire about I believe it was like what was it called? You called it something. It's like basically a weightlifting suit, right?
Yeah. It's an exosuit. It basically, he's trying to patent something that will be customized, because there are mechanized suits, as I understand it, in Helios and elsewhere. So he's trying to utilize this for use in an industrial setting. So lightweight, just so it's easier for people to lift up crates. They could like lift a crate up by themselves, or bales of whatever, and A, not get hurt, and B, it's just easier so they can work longer. And you can make some money off of it, hopefully.
Yeah, so the clerk informs you that there is currently a dispute between 2 other patents of similar natures, but that basically like it's already earned, like a couple of different companies have already basically not really bought rights to your patent, but kind of like they have invested some capital into it, um, and currently like most of that is being used to basically um, go through the legal system to determine, you know, which patent has has copyright, or not really copyright, which patent has precedent over which particular feature. And the clerk informs you that the process is probably going to be at least a couple of weeks long, if not more, and it would tie up most of the investment funds during that time, unless you wish not to dispute the contrary claims, the counterclaims.
Does it list who the other party or parties are that are disputing it?
Yes, there is a name that you do not recognize, but the clerk will inform you when you inquire that it's a small company that is a subsidiary of Thornhill Industries. And then there is a very
I'm just gonna suck in his breath and say when were the attempts made? Like what time were these made?
there is a patent from an engineering firm, which is
Okay, and the
they
rates
don't really
were
make
when
things
made?
themselves, so they don't make the suits themselves. They just hold
Kind of
various different intellectual properties, and one of which is a suit called a stevedores suit, and it is essentially what you're describing, except it is not. It is more like a forklift than a suit that you wear. It's an object that you push around, and it lifts boxes, and then you can push it around while the boxes is being carried by this suit.
I got you. So, yeah, disputing that definitely seems like it might provide a similar function, but not exactly the same. Um, Ask the clerk who usually helps with these disputes. Do they get we have are there
So-
lawyers or magistrates, or how does that? Is there someone that Milo can hire to help him?
Yeah, so
manage
the
this?
process itself, I won't go through the entire laborious process, because who wants to play the
Yeah, I
you know,
got you. Just wondering. I'm just wondering if I should spend some money to make this thing go faster.
yeah, but basically what essentially how it works out is that like you have earned a little bit of money from people who are interested in your idea and want to invest in developing it, come to see it come to fruition. But the majority of that investment at the moment is being tied up in basically legal battles. I would say that when it all comes to account, the funds that you probably have access to your patent at the moment probably works out to be somewhere around 100 gold. So you can go ahead and add that to inventory if you want.
Cool. So yeah, so the one thing about spending money to possibly dispute it, but also another angle to take is that um, I could try to, if you can't beat them, join them. Like maybe they could buy mine outright because it's holding theirs up as well, or
Yeah.
we could go into business together. It's not something that we have to do here, but that's something he's suggesting to the clerk. He would need somebody to help with that, get a hold of them, go through the right channel, so it doesn't seem like I'm intimidating them. Not that Milo's intimidating.
Sure, Milo's not intimidating at all, says the random bits of snow-covered body parts.
From the gang, those two guys. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so we can figure that out. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, there's one thing about rules lawyering, and then there's another thing about the
Lawyering.
lawyering. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a feasible idea to work out like I guess a settlement with the other two disputant claimants. Um, yeah,
And
but the Thornhill one obviously is the more major issue. Their suit is much more uh, in line with your suit. It's similar idea, except theirs is a powered unit. It's being powered by a small steam engine.
yep, and mine is more. It's not powered by anything. It just assists mechanically. So they have
Theirs
some
is
different
theirs is like
functions.
theirs is like a fully articulated powered suit, whereas yours is like a support exoskeleton basically.
Yeah. So Milo would want to try to get someone that could assist outside of the game, so we don't have to go through everything.
Sure,
To make
sure.
that happen, and he would pay them, and that would be it.
Okay, fantastic. Arthur, what are you doing during this time?
Would the days have passed for me to be able to go get my memory restored?
Yes, that would be on the second day. You would have essentially one free day.
I think on the first day I just made a couple potions. I don't remember exactly what I made. I may have just made a Healy thing for Seraphina.
Yeah, a Keatim's ointment or something you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
I seem to recall you doing that, yeah. And then I assume the rest of the first day's time is basically a mixture between your clerical duties, family life, etc.
Yeah, usual stuff.
Okay. So yeah, on the second day, at dusk, at nightfall, you were basically asked to return with the diamond dust, which you have, and Priestess Moon is indeed waiting for you in like one of the ritual chambers. And she looks up expectantly when you enter, and she says, "Ah, yes, right on time. Are you ready?"
He just sort of nods.
You understand that this is not a sure thing, yes?
He'll say it's better than trying nothing.
Okay. Before we start, are you certain you wish to have these memories back? There probably is a reason why a person would go through such lengths to prevent you from remembering anything.
He'll just nod.
Okay. Yeah. So she enacts the ritual. You get the feeling that like there's a little bit of a showmanship here. Like there are some unnecessary like you're a proficient enough divine caster yourself to recognize when there's a little bit of theater involved.
Nice.
And there are various other like acolytes and stuff who are assisting. But yeah, the ritual takes just over an hour. At the end of which she basically picks up a like a laurel wreath essentially, and places it upon your crown. And upon the laurel wreath settling upon your crown, you feel a like it's hard to describe. It's almost like a knot, some sort of knot that was tied up inside your mind, uncoiled and straightened out. And all of a sudden,
I heard her
it's
call.
almost like you're
Finra.
suddenly able to recollect the events.
I was praying.
It's not like it's not like you relive them all over again, but
She told me.
it's like the thing where you have like you have that word on the tip of your tongue and you can't quite remember what that word is. It's like you've had that for the past few days, just constantly.
That's what she said.
And then all of a sudden, yeah, it clicked. Oh yeah, that's what it was. so yeah, all of the effects of the modified memory spell is essentially done away with.
Okay, so yeah, whenever that's over with, he'll thank her and do the priest salute, and
Yeah.
head out. Unless she has something else she wanted to say to him.
No, in general, it is basically asking after.
Graham's going to look at Kane and be like,
It's essentially small talk. But by the way, that consumes 100 gold pieces worth of diamond dust.
Yeah, I had 200. I just marked off 100.
Okay, so we'll actually leave Thalia for last. Okay.
Awesome.
Seraphina. Seraphina, what were you doing during this 2 days of
I prayed to her as my
them
demon
recuperating and settling back in?
No, directly on my
She
mom,
was
she responded to me.
doing her thing, stacking people, and trying to make friends with the rat, with her newfound ring of contacts.
Okay.
You also
Uh.
have the scroll of Find Familiar.
True. But she was using the charges to speak with animals to try to be friends with this mouse that she was following around.
Oh yeah. Okay. Roll me an animal handling check with advantage.
She may even get more power from having more followers.
Give me just a moment, my
No.
computer's a potato.
It wasn't 4
No
minutes.
worries.
It was since Swim on Matter, if you think back. It might have been very pervy, but he was focused on her completely.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, by the end of the first day, you've like a mice's intelligence is, let's just say, is not the most
Hey, I mean, it technically does fit.
intelligent of creatures, but at the end of the first day, you've established enough of a rapport that it's
Graham,
willing
you can
to
take my power
basically
for
tolerate
saying-
your presence without being overly alarmed. It's aware that you mean it no harm. And in general, like, it's fine if you basically, sticking it in a pocket or carrying it about with you, as long as you keep it fed. It's in it for the food.
Excellent.
It in fact informs you that it's an easy gig. Not having to scavenge and duck cats and other forms of predators. Do you do anything for the second day of downtime?
Other than just your standard relationship building with the mouse, trying to figure out if it has a name before she decides to give it one. She just kind of does her pseudo vigilantism, like kind of prowling the streets, making sure that nobody is being, harmed or disenfranchised.
Okay. You during your prowl in the streets, it is actually quiet. Oddly so. The typical haunts that you frequent, that you keep an eye out, the neighborhoods that you keep an eye out, are less troublesome than you typically recall. And this might be due to the presence of an increased number of constabulary on the streets, as well as especially around different establishments and etc. Like taverns, inns, that kind of things, entertainment establishments. There's an increased presence of these. Well, you recognize them. They're basically imperial soldiers of all different branches. They all wear like this bluish overcoat, similar to like the British redcoats, but it's blue, not red. They're not armed. None of them are armed. Obviously, you don't walk around the town armed. But yeah, it's essentially like a shit. What's that thing in New Orleans where all the sailors come into town?
You think of Mardi Gras or like Fleet Week?
Might be Fleet Week, yeah. It's basically like that. Like the town has an influx of military personnel, basically, that are on their downtime. I should give you a Rolf sheet.
Minutes had passed.
Have I given you a Rolf sheet? I keep saying I should, but
For what?
for his owl.
Oh, I don't think I have sheets for any of them at all.
It was like for the day or something like that.
Yeah,
She
the
was
thing
like,
is that like an owl doesn't attack people. So
Yeah, I just been role playing it as we go along.
it's fine. I'll actually throw you a sheet. You'll have to find me an owl token though. I mean, I have an owl token, but like,
I can get one.
I've got a whole bunch on the OneDrive.
Unless you want the Hooters token.
I know
it's
what
the
it's all
best
is.
token.
It is a pretty sweet
Hold on,
token.
hold on, I know what it's
It
all
is
is.
nice.
You can go back to Shea and ask her to send in people good reports.
Right, you should have
And
Rolf.
search for us.
Thank you.
I'll move it down into your folder. And also, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I manually copied your sheet into a new sheet.
Oh, okay.
We fixed that bloody 25
Oh,
save.
Yeah,
Shit.
I didn't even see that. Thanks for doing that.
But I don't think
No
anybody
worries.
actually commented on it.
Yeah, so Thalia, we'll get to you last. So by which I mean now.
Oh.
So what are you doing for your first day?
Well, first off, she's probably going to take her silvered watch to a to a disenchanter,
Okay.
or at least see if there's anything that the disenchanter can circumvent. On
Maybe
there?
just say that,
Okay.
you
But
get a few-
otherwise, she's probably making
yeah, if we're back with Shea, we have
written
to-
notes, like a little diary of whatever just happened underground,
So
that if her memory gets wiped
if you
again,
get modified meter again, you would know. Okay.
yes. And she'll actually probably at this point start keeping up a journal as well,
Disaster situation, right?
this a daily journal.
All right. So you take it to a local,
Okay, Nimnon will give a brief
like an
overview,
artificer,
you know, after we
and
went through that
it's a bespectacled gnome.
we
Actually,
met what we
not
call a god.
unlike Milo in demeanor and
He is quite
disposition. He's got probably a little bit. He doesn't have the gray, the white hair. Instead, it's this rich bourbon color. Is that a word? Brunette? Bourbon? No. Whatever.
Amber.
Brown, darkish color. Yeah, and yeah, he very gingerly, and he says, this is a very fine piece. I haven't seen any like this. And he starts to, like, under your supervision, he starts to, like, examine it and then, like, takes it apart. And then he runs several gems and crystals over it. And he examines the interior and each of the cogs and gears. And he finally looks up at you and says, I'm sorry, miss, I see no signs of any kind of spell work or magic on this thing.
Well, it was a thought. Somebody modified my memory, and this was the only thing we had in common, besides her being near us.
He looks a little bit alarmed and he says, "You should report her, miss."
She's in a higher position than me.
And then Nana will laugh openly.
Even then, such a spell is highly illegal.
I have a feeling she'd get away with it.
It might have been 5 years for you, but we also did retrieve the last
Uh,
blessing, which
he says, "You perhaps you should avoid this person if she were to find out. How do you know that your memory has been modified?"
We lost a whole, a day and a half where we visited someplace where we really shouldn't have and learned a lot of things. And then when we got to where we were going, she made us forget.
Miss, she sounds very dangerous. You should avoid her.
okay,
I'm making very much notes, and I'm keeping a separate profile for her in case she does it again.
That sounds prudent. Yeah, and actually, it's probably around the time that you were leaving.
Nana's
Yeah, it's probably around the time you're leaving, you realize that you are actually, because you had to go across the river, towards the direction of the Eternal Palace, like the bureaucratical center of the city. You realize that you're actually fairly near a tavern called the Silverfall Reverie. And if your timekeeping is correct, you realize that Harper should be performing there tonight.
Let's go visit Harper.
All right. Okay, so yeah, you while away your afternoon. The establishment is very upclass. It's less of a tavern, less of an inn, and more like a cabaret.
This is where her new leather suit comes in.
Yeah, because you can make it look like whatever you can imagine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Harper seems happy to see you. You know, his very strange, draconic cadence of speech. Despite his very strange, draconic cadence of speech and referring to himself in third person, you can tell that he's pleased to see you, and you know, you both inquire. You have a brief conversation, well, maybe a lengthy conversation, over the events that have transpired. Transpired, yes, that's the word I was looking. They have transpired. You do notice, however, the establishment is filled with the aforementioned, the blue-coated military personnel. They're boisterous, they're loud, they are good-natured, so there's no mean-spiritedness going on. They seem to just be blowing off steam. Of particular interest, or maybe not interest, but just of particular note to you, the group, numbering about 20 or so of these blue-coated individuals that dominate the majority of this establishment, they seem to be, their focus and their attentions seem to be focused on 3 halflings
I mean, on the one hand, he
that
has
are
the
also
ability
wearing
to
similar blue cloaks. The majority of these people, of these blue cloak figures, are human. There's 1 or 2 half elves in there, and like 3 dwarves who are in their own little clique. They're at the bar, just busy slamming back drinks after drinks.
Is it obviously segregated? Like one half of the room is humans, yeah, and then part of it is
going and taking a look.
Not really. It just seems like the dwarves have other priorities, which is to get smashing drunk.
Well, that's always
Whereas,
their priority.
That's a very good priority.
So I can't actually remember the travel.
It doesn't seem like an imposed thing. It seems like a self-imposed thing. Whereas the humans are all clustered around these 3 halflings who are one seated basically on a bar. The other one is seated like they're basically in a cluster, and what I can describe to you is basically like the three halflings are essentially the center of attention.
That's
Um,
interesting.
Just you.
Yeah, and they're just like laughing, and they're like one of the halflings seem to be telling some sort of a story, but you lack context, and there's a lot of like military jargon and jingo going on that you don't understand. So you don't really catch what the story was about, but there's a lot of like, essentially like tall tale laughing.
Oh yeah, damn.
Can the last line be, wrecked him, it damn near killed him? Because you don't need a joke for that catch line. It's always funny.
Yeah, sure. Roll me a perception check.
Where my page? There it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
give me a
not
moment.
far, but that's still a lot of distance to travel. I think it took us like a month or so round
Performance.
trip.
Perception.
All right. Okay. So you notice that
Oh, I have an extra
the-
attack per turn.
so they all have unit patches. The majority of the figures in the blue coats in the establishment in the Reverie are wearing these unit patches on their shoulders that stylize a anchor, like a, you know what I mean, right? Like a boat anchor.
Yeah.
I'll do the one. Something like that. Except the crossbars of the anchor, this crossbar piece is a pair of wings.
Hopefully not demonic wings, but angelic.
They look like feathered angelic wings. Yeah. Uh, yeah. And the top of the anchor is a crown. Because I'm an amazing artist. Yeah. Although, from what you can tell, the halflings were similar. Although from your angle, it's a little bit hard to see if they're exactly the same. Oh, and one other note that I should mention. So two of the halflings are male, and the third one is female, but without a fault. I mean, without a. So all three of them are ripped, like abnormally ripped.
I found the Marines hangout. Awesome. But
I've,
Uh,
I've taken these sailors home before.
You guys cannot
When I was
really
Ubering.
do one, but she knows the state that she
Like they are
lives in.
literally 3 feet
I
of
think we need
like bulging muscles.
to not be
It's almost like that Chinese gene-edited dog. You remember us posting that picture?
financiers for your
yeah.
Wasn't it like the pit bull that was super swole?
Yeah.
I think my place is here helping these people.
Yeah, and I don't know if you inquire any further into this situation, or you're just content to observe.
She would inquire lightly.
Okay,
And-
who do you speak to?
She'd probably ask Harper, but he probably wouldn't know. But at this point, she would probably just cast her read mind spell, and then just be content to listen to people's minds.
Okay, so just browsing the surface thoughts.
Yeah, just browsing surface thoughts.
Okay, so throughout the evening of garnering, just skimming top of people's mind, you gather that these all are part of a you don't catch the name, but they're the crew. They're the drop. What's called the drop complement of a crew of, like you said, airship marines. So they're basically ships with, essentially zeppelins, airships. And these are the marines on board that typically get dropped off via rope or spell. And you learn that the three halflings that they're kind of like toasting are the drop crew's heavies. What that means, you're not quite sure, but it sounds like they are essentially, for lack of a better term, for lack of a better term, heavies. Late in the evening, as you're going through this thing, and while Harper is nearing the finish of his latest routine, you actually hear a voice in your mind. The voice sounds vaguely familiar, like you've met this person maybe once or twice before. It's officious, a little bit pompous, and very Alfred-esque. By which I mean Alfred from Batman. And the message says to you, "My Lord Alexander has a proposition for you and your companions. The matter is somewhat time-sensitive. Please visit the manor at your earliest convenience." And that's exactly 25 words.
That's awesome. So actually, at this point, as soon as she hears that message, this is what, day 1 or day 2?
This is the end of day 1. Actually, no, this is the end of the second day.
Okay, well then she would send her own message to, probably Arthur.
Do you have the sending spell?
She has message.
Message only is like
No.
120 feet.
She has that one that lasts miles because she was casting it in the Underdark.
Right, which is sending, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, sending.
Yeah, so she
So,
would
yeah.
send it to Arthur. Well, she'll actually just, it's a level 3 spell. She'll go ahead and send it out to all 3 of them.
Nana's chuckling with
And,
my
Okay.
voice, but he's not
She'll
saying
probably
anything.
say, just got a message from House Alexandria. Meet at Alexandria at earliest convenience.
So any of you reply?
Can we reply with that?
Yep, you can immediately reply with, in a similar manner of 25 words for less.
Yeah, I would have told Alexandria, most likely tomorrow morning or later on tonight. Well, as soon as, no, it's fine. She won't respond to Alexandria.
Okay.
Am I still building my gun?
Into day 2.
This would be the end, near the end of like winding down, and you're possibly like just making ammunition at this point.
Oh yeah, if I have ammo for it, then I'll go. If not, I'll say, busy, take the new guy.
Be hanging out, trying to get with Lynn.
But if I
Oh,
have the gun,
crap.
then I'll definitely go.
Well, once you said new guy, I'm like, oh crap, and she sends it to Seraphina as well, but Seraphina's never been to Alexandria. So she'll tell Seraphina to meet with group, as soon as possible.
Is there a location attached to that, or
Since their Obadiah is probably messing around, probably at the observatory.
Yeah, I'll probably at the observatory, super excited with my new toy and making ammo for it, and with the dog. So I guess I'd go out and get her.
Arthur, he probably wouldn't reply. He would probably just take it as that he needs to go there now, so he'll probably just grab his bag and start heading that way.
Okay.
Fight Rick's Tish.
So who do you think is the first to pass through the Rosewood Gate?
Probably me.
Strangely enough, where last time you were stopped by guardsmen, this time the guards captain kind of like saw you approaching, and he kind of like he's holding some sort of like a book or tome, and he glances down at the book or the tome, and then he glances back up, and he just nods at you and steps aside.
Well, at this point, if she's looking at a book, then nods, she'll say that they have one extra party member now.
Could you describe this individual and their name?
It's a halfling. I believe it's a halfling.
Yeah.
She vaguely described Seraphina,
Okay.
and
And
probably
you
said
call
that
her Seraphina?
yeah, Seraphina, and that she'd probably be with Obadiah, the fat one.
I mean, she's not wrong.
You get you get like a facial tick, like there's some sort of like lip movement, like a twitch. But he just nods and he says, "Understood, miss."
I mean, she could have said grumpy one, but I mean, she's not wrong.
And he jots down something in his journal.
No, Nimnon diced him.
Have a pleasant evening, madam.
Actually, no, I tricked
Thank
him,
you.
and then I would end it.
And he kind of looks up at the next person who's approaching the gate. Yeah, so the rest of you receive similar treatments when you pass through the gate. The captain of the guard, consults some sort of a list in a ledger, and then simply just nods or waves you through the gate without bothering you with any further questioning.
I'll have brought Marmaduke, but if they say I can't bring him in with me, I'll send him home.
No, no,
If they don't say anything, I'll keep him with me.
yeah, they don't say anything.
And when I get through the gate, is it the same exact guard that was there last time that gave us a whole bunch of trouble?
No,
The
you
one,
don't.
the guy I had to bribe?
No, keep in mind.
Yeah, you don't recognize any of the guards here at the Rosewood Gate.
Then I will keep my smart ass remarks to myself. It's not good if they don't know what's going on. And I'll kind of like, I guess, be pointing out where we're going to Seraphina with the dog.
Yeah, Seraphina, do you think you would have been to Rosewood before? Think of it as like the gated, like, nobles community.
She may have been there like once or twice on an assignment, but never for winter.
Okay, were you here legally or were you here illegally? So did you sneak past the gates or were you allowed in?
It's only
I
legal.
snuck in to complete the job and left, kind of slipping in and out unnoticed.
Okay. So yeah, I should describe it again since Seraphina, like, we haven't had you in Rosewood before. So the streets are finely cobbled. There's no potholes, etc. All the buildings are in well, actually, let's say all the buildings are behind fences, and the fences are of wrought brass and like iron, polished to a fine degree. Most of the establishments and properties have actually guards at the front of their gates, standing on guard or inside little guard houses. Of what establishments you can see along the main thoroughfare. They typically line wide open plazas with lots of room facing the sky. There's a lack of pedestrian traffic compared to other parts of the city. Everyone here seems to either travel via like carriage, conveyance, or alternatively the people that you do see walking about on the streets are typically liveried servants or guardsmen. It's the hoity-toity part of town. The streets are well lit with gas lamps every 20 or 30 feet or so that just run the entire district.
I mean, it would make sense. Technically, the ones that sent him back never happened.
Even at this late, well, not this late, but even at this like 2 or 3 hours after sundown, the streets are still almost as bright as day, just by the pure illumination of all the gas lamps and various torches and etc. Around. You guys arrive at the Alexandria Manor, and you aren't asked to wait outside. Instead, you are shown in one by one as you arrive. The Chamberlain is a different Chamberlain from who you met last time. Last time you met an oldish elf gentleman. This time you meet a how do I describe this? An elven supermodel is what I would describe. She is a 6 feet tall. I won't say curvy, but like well defined. Like if you, it's hard to find a single gram of fat on her. Unlike the last Chamberlain that met you at the door, who was dressed in like the standard butler's coat livery, she's dressed in some kind of I won't call it armor, but it certainly has it's clothing. It's tailored. It's like a tailored suit, but there's an air about this outfit that speaks of it being a clothing that you could fight in. And she leads you to the similar conference room. In fact, the same conference room last time where she had you leave. He had you leave all of your weapons, except this time she simply has you wait for your. She asks you. We'll hold the meeting once all of your companions have arrived, and in the meantime, she has servants bring you tea and cakes and other types of things that if you ask for them.
So that's nice.
Crumpets.
But Thalia, is there a table where she can put her weapons? Because she'll do it voluntarily.
Yeah. There are a couple of well, there's essentially a large 12-seat dining table in the center of the room, with 2 chandeliers hanging overhead. Along the western side of the wall is basically the windows that face onto the front of the property. Along the eastern side of the wall is a series of benches and armoires and shelves that could serve the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. So she would voluntarily put her weapons and everything but all of her notes on the table. She'd keep her notes with her.
Okay.
If I was there and saw it, I would just kind of put the satchel that they gave us last time that's now mine. I just kind of take it off, put it on the table. I'd keep my revolver still on my thing, and if they never told me not to bring him in, I just kind of pet Marmaduke.
Yeah, no, you got no comment for. In fact, without being prompted, the Chamberlain brings Marmaduke a piece of raw steak on a silver platter. And the platter is actually silver. I'm not just saying a silver platter.
Look at that, buddy. You're getting better service than I am.
If they bring Milo prune juice, he's gonna take issue with that.
And
Yeah, so
I'd ask Milo, how did your days off go? Did you get anywhere on your cart?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I have it in the I think it was the stable down underneath the
yeah, there was a building that used to be a stable, but currently houses in addition to the couple of draft horses that pulls the observatory carriage, there's like a small workshop in there.
Yeah, I got a ways to go, but I think I could generate some coin. Maybe pay someone to take the items in and
Seriously,
distribute
where'd
them
it
when
go?
I'm done, so I don't have to do it myself.
Well, I know a guy that knows a lot of dot kids. I don't know how trusted they would be, but they would probably be available for easy labor.
Well, I've got ways to fix minor things. Wouldn't take me too much time, but I think it's mostly the out and about town and riding around and collecting things and bringing things back that takes the longest.
Well,
Someday
Milo,
I'll have my own shop, maybe, but not
Milo has his network of homeless kids.
yet. Yeah, he. I don't know if you trust them to
Yeah, basically, honor the
handle money and be the face of the business. I think it's gonna be great, but still a ways off. There's still some things I wanna do to make sure that it doesn't get away.
God, we are into Victorian England now. Now we're into child labor.
You
Jesus.
can just go to an orphanage and pick up a young kid. Teach it.
Yeah. So by the time you guys all arrive, the Chamberlain, in a soft contralto, asks you all to make sure that you're disarmed. And again, she never implies that, like, she never directly tells you that your things won't be disturbed, but it's heavily implied.
If she asked, then I would take my pistol out of my coat and put it in the satchel and just leave it there.
She doesn't say it specifically, but she does point out that.
It's heavily implied. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not that thick.
Milo
Yeah.
would take his shovel / cane with him and give everything else.
Okay.
Still has his owl with him as well.
Okay, sure. Seraphina, do you disarm?
Yeah, I guess. If she's able to keep her arm crossbows hidden, then she would do that. Otherwise, she would relinquish her visible hand crossbows.
Okay, so you've got like a wrist bow thing, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
If I notice her looking around like unsure, I would say it's fine. We've talked to these people before. You'll get everything back.
She'll just kind of nod and disarm for the most part.
okay. All right. So the Chamberlain comes back to fetch you, and she says, "Please, if you'll follow me." And she, instead of leading you out the door that you guys came in, like last
Really?
time, she leads you out of a door on the northeast of the room. There is a slight difference this time, however. When you step through, like follow her through the door, you don't recognize the hallway that you're in. Last time you exited onto like an annex hallway that led to like a staircase that went up, and there was a bit of a roundabout way. This time when you step through, you almost feel your eardrums kind of pop. Not really pop, but like, you know, there's like a sensation of pressure change. And you're in an unfamiliar hallway. And she leads you in a direction that you can only assume is north. And there's like a little bit of switchback. It doesn't take nearly as long as the previous trip last time when you went upstairs. Instead, this time she takes you to ostensibly another room somewhere on the first floor. And she knocks on the door, and without waiting for a reply, she opens it and ushers you in. And you can see through the doorway that Lord Alexander is seated behind his office, seated behind his desk in his office, the familiar office with the painting over the fireplace of a young group, a group of, how did I describe it last time? There was a group of elves, dwarves, and humans dressed in adventurers attire, posing for some sort of portrait. I should point out it is the same office, but you never went upstairs, so I'll leave that up to you to make what it is.
Milo would, just from his background and his studies, he would go up and, as he's like passing near one of the walls or one of the bookshelves, if he could do so somewhat inconspicuously, would like touch it, pass a hand through it if that ends up happening.
No, the books are your hand makes contact with a book written in Elvish. Can you speak Elvish?
No.
Okay. Yeah, but you can recognize that it's written in Elvish.
All right. But he's trying to think if this. He's trying to figure out if this is something to do with magic, or first. I guess that would be his first thing to do.
Okay. Yeah, none of everything that you can figure so far points to the fact that none of this is illusionary. Sorry, go ahead.
And first he's thinking of if it is something to do with an illusion, if it's not perhaps some other kind of magic, and if it's not that, he's trying to look mechanically. Like he's trying to figure out if this is if it was on one floor and then a different floor, if this is some kind of being elevated.
Roll me an Arcana check. Yeah, you judging from various clues and tells,
Oh, so I can't actually train people then.
you gather that it's likely either the doorways in this building have some sort of funkiness going on, or that the structures, the interior of the structure has some way of rearranging itself,
Got 20 prospects in mind.
or
About 3 feet tall.
possibly at some point you unknowingly walked through some sort of a gate
Oh,
or
I'm not gonna
something.
take them in there, but they're gonna be trained from childhood.
Okay. He keeps that to himself right now.
I'm just going to assume the upstairs is where he takes the daytime help right before the shift change.
Yeah, and Alexandra kind of looks up from writing something on a parchment, like a scroll, with a black quill, and yeah, you can't make out what he's writing from here, but he looks up and he says, "Ah, yes, you're very prompt. Please come in." I assume you'll enter.
Yeah, I'm just
Yes.
chewing on a carrot, so I was trying to finish that before I talk.
Okay, so yeah, you enter. The Chamberlain doesn't come in with you. Instead, she ushers the door shut with a soft click. And he says, "I trust." So he looks at you, Thaler, and says, "Well met again, cousin. I trust you have shared with your companions the message that my Chamberlain sent you."
Only that they needed to meet us here. I did not want to spoil anything.
Ah,
And
yes,
all
okay.
honesty,
As I told her, I have somewhat of a time-sensitive task for you and your friends on a familiar subject matter. You recall the last time we met, you returned some lost property to us.
Yes.
Yes, well, it is not well-known information, but the object is not the only one of its kind.
No,
Maybe
there's
not
like
get
3
to
or
the
4
third
others,
person
I
and
believe.
Jake spent all of his
She actually
time
says that
working
out loud.
closer to her.
Your information is very good. Pray tell, how do you know about this?
Slap face.
She'll look over
You're not
at
gonna
Milo
say
and
awkward.
Arthur and tell them that they won't remember. But she looked.
Arthur will say, he'll sort of after that interrupt and say, someone who has forgotten to time.
You know how hard it would be for.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Milo shrugs.
Yeah. He, Alexander steeples his fingers for a moment, and he looks towards Serafina actually, and he says, I do not recognize this one.
She is new to us. Her name is Serafina, and she helped us escape a very awkward situation.
Yeah, he glances towards Thalia and Arthur, and he says, would you vouch for her?
Yes.
Looks at Arthur.
He'll say that he does not know her long enough, has not known her long enough to say whether or not he can.
Sure. I mean, if you want the backup, I'll go for it.
He's going to look directly at you, Serafina, and he asks you, have you ever committed treason against the crown?
She's gonna look and respond with a pretty solid sounding no. As far as she's concerned, she's never committed any form of treason.
Okay, and then he asks you, are you a seditionist or oh fuck, I forgot what they're called. Yeah, are you a seditionist, or do you hold seditionist sentiments?
She looks at the man and simply offers, I am a simple halfling woman. I do not understand the term.
Are you against the rule of Her Serenity, Victoria the Royal? And do you seek to undermine her reign?
She offers another solid no, and replies with, the comforts that I am allowed to live, I am grateful for.
Yeah, he'll nod, and he'll say, very well. Your information is correct. There are additional objects, boxes as you call them. They're not ours. They're not within our possession. But we feel that forces that have gone after one such box might try their hand at some of the others. Most of them are fairly secure, that I know of. There is only one that I can think of that they can go after. But this would require them to strike at sanctified ground. If you're amenable, I would like to hire your services and attach you to an expeditionary force that I plan on sending up to the Shattered Peaks. There at the top of the Shattered Peaks, you will find the summit, a holy shrine, let's call it, to the dawn, to the Lady of the Dawn, Eos. It is within that shrine that such one of these boxes is protected by its guardian. I would like for you to travel there with my expedition and ensure that the box is secure with its guardian and won't fall into the wrong hands.
Oh, so you're not asking us to take it. You're asking to make sure it's secure.
Yes. So I should give you a little bit of a background on why this task. The shrine is like I said, it is called the Summit, and it sits at the top of the Shattered Peaks. What do you know of the Shattered Peaks?
Do I know anything about them? I've lived basically in the city my whole life.
Yeah. Let's just. I thought I was gonna say, let's just assume we don't know anything about the Shattered Peaks.
He nods, and he says, "The Shattered Peaks is a... Well, they say that it used to be a mountain range of some stature, but some form of cataclysm befell it, and now it is a series of, for lack of a better term, floating islands, sitting atop a magical vortex. The summit, or the shrine that Eos, that the Guardian inhabits, sits atop the very tallest of these floating mountains. The mountain itself, the shrine, the summit itself, its particular mountain orbits over a wide range, and follows, coincidentally, that the island always sits atop where it is always dawn. It always faces dawn. However, once a year at around a single time, the alignments of this orbit lines it up to a series of chained islands that allows a person with either only minimally capacities of flight or levitation to be able to chain hop these islands all the way to the summit. If there is a time where the shrine is under threat, it is only during this window, and I would simply like for you to prevent any forces that might try and invade the summit during this vulnerable period, and prevent them from doing so.
So basically, you want us to go up there and add another layer of security.
Yes, we have had reports, somewhat nonsensical reports, but the area is rife with all sorts of
Wildlife?
Wildlife is not the term that I would use. It is
Unrest?
life form. It is life forms that have been twisted and misshapen by, like I said, the magical vortex that the Shattered Peaks float amongst. As well, the area is
Is the thing still
the
active?
home ranging grounds of several dozen tribes of Goliaths
In the link.
who roam the
Eric,
region.
If there's any plus side,
They don't
I still
typically
have
threaten
thrown
our
into
interests
the
in that area,
I mean,
although they are tribals.
no, I gave her the pillow that I got from the.
But yes, we've heard
No, I said
reports
the
of
pillow.
some sort of small force that have been poking at the edges of some of these
Oh, it's a totally big
these
recommend.
satellite islands to the peak, to the summit. And we're concerned that this is the scouting force of a much larger expedition.
Hey Kev, can you remind me what was in the box that the guy said? I think he said there were shards of something.
Eric's stepmother's room.
He didn't tell us what was in the box. It was It was a piece of jewelry. It could be. Is it larger than a brooch? Yes. It's an Is it an obelisk? Unfamiliar, but no, it's an item. It was made of metal. It was a key, but it's not designed to be. It's a lock, but not designed to be. And there's 4 of them, and it could bring back Killer. It's not meant for that purpose, but cannot come to pass. There's all sorts of. We did that 20 questions game with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that cushion's not going to nowhere. Unless they manage to steal it.
But I think the best description that we got, it was 4 pieces of something that combined to create something.
No, he says
Gotcha.
And it has to go to the
He still keeps the cushion.
archive, I believe.
As far as you can understand, the boxes can only be opened at the archive.
And as I roll, boss is like, you can't steal it. It's nailed down.
They have like the Tony Stark machine like,
What?
to open it, right?
Yep.
Well, so does your expedition have a way for us to get to the top of these
Yes.
islands?
No. So, I guess I forgot to mention a single detail.
Because I'm not built for climbing.
The vortex, the shattered
This
peaks,
is how I roll.
they sit
Seriously,
atop
you should see some of
the
stats
North
I put on
Pole.
the characters.
which is the reason why the summit always orbits and faces towards the dawn,
Oh my god.
as its orbit lines up with the surface of the sun, the dawn of the sun,
Some people have to
as
have
it travels
very
across the
high
plane.
skills in that.
But we need cold weather gear.
Yes, you possibly would have to secure such gear. We can provide you with some cold weather traveling gear, but as to if you seek to put together magical equipment to deal with the conditions, that would be advisable as well. But I'm afraid we do not have much resources in that department. To get to the Shattered Peaks, I will have you join my expedition via airship. Accompanying you will be an expeditionary force. They will be not under your command, but their lieutenant will be instructed to assist you as much as he and his company is physically able to. My understanding is that because of the cold weather conditions, the airship itself is unable to travel very high up into the Shattered Peaks. Something to do with temperature and the buoyancy of the gas contained on the airship. So he can get you with his airship up to some of the lower satellite mountains, but and he looks at Obadiah, you will have to do some climbing.
I'll like sigh and say, well, if we were to do this, I'm assuming we would be rewarded handsomely. And I'll kind of look around at his like ridiculously office.
He kind of like leans back in his chair and he steeples his fingers in front of him and he kind of has like a grin, and he says, "How much would your services cost me?"
Oh, I'll kind of like not look a little bashful, and I just expect him to throw a number out, and kind of like whisper to Thalia, "How much is a lot? Because I don't want to climb this fucking rope."
Thalia looks very annoyed at Obadiah and just smirks at him. And she's like, "You dug this hole."
20,000 gold
'Done.
Wow.
each.
He shakes his head and he says, "I believe we just reached an agreement."
Each?
No, he said
No,
he's
no.
done after he said 20,000 gold.
Yeah.
I'll halfway be excited for getting us a lot of gold, but I'll be halfway just as sad because I don't want to climb this fucking rope.
Arthur will ask, how much would you have gone for, just curiously?
He just smiles, and he says, "Let's say that there's very few prospects of people that I would entrust with such an endeavor."
Well, Just so I got, we're not supposed to go into the temple, correct? Unless we're chasing something.
He shakes his head and he says, "I've never been to the summit myself, I'm afraid.
And they're getting very good
If the
at
temple's
listening.
guardian permits you to enter, then I suppose you have free reign of the place."
Well, that's my issue because I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes have bad luck, and I don't want to anger this guardian. And if we do, I don't want to A, die to it, or B, possibly destroy it and leave it without anyone to guard it. So I'm just trying to figure out what our guidelines are.
Thalia takes this point to mention what is the Guardian.
He kind of like, he actually gets up off he pushes his chair back, and he kind of like stands, and then he like walks over to one of the bookshelves. While he's doing this, he says, "I'm afraid I have little information upon the guardian of the summit. The only thing that I do know is what I've read of descriptions of various pilgrims that have visited." And he like gestures you over to like a reading table. He folds open the book in front of you, like flips to like a page and like reads down partially, and then like turns the book around so that you can read it. And the passage that's being described in the book simply describes like I said, a guardian entrusted by the Lady of the Dawn to forever guard the summit of the dawn. And it describes a shrine, a crystalline palace at the top of this, like I said, at the top of this shattered peak. And the shattered peaks themselves churn in a chaotic orbit, but once a year, certain of the islands line up to form an almost perfect series of lattice tiers that a hardy pilgrim making good time can travel to the tops of which.
Well, Marmaduke, it means you can't come with us.
You're not taking your dog to the Arctic?
I mean, no. I want him to smell out things, but I can barely climb these ropes myself. And I'm not going to strap another 140 pounds of dog onto me.
If there's sort of a lull in the conversation or whatever at any point, Arthur will ask, when does he want them to, or when should they head out, or when are they heading out?
So the date of the alignment is in 2 weeks' time. It'll take you just over a week by airship to get to the Shattered Peaks. So I suppose you have at least a couple of days to prepare, but ideally you want to get going as soon as possible, as we do not know when this nibbling scout force will have gotten up to during the time.
Question. Are there cities along the way where we could grab cold weather gear? Because I highly doubt that Helios would have cold weather gear for us.
Yes, you're right. The last way station is aptly called Winter Hold. It sits 200 miles south of the Shattered Peaks. I believe the airship will be making a provision visit there.
Do they have a magic shop there?
He shakes his head and he says, I'm afraid I don't know. I've never been up that far north. You will have to ask the lieutenant.
Okay, well, maybe we can make a stop along the way to get cold weather gear.
He nods his head and he says, actually, I believe my chamberlain can provide you with some basic cold weather provisions, and as well, the Lieutenant Wilmore will supply you with any kind of mundane provisions that you might need for your trek. It is only of the more rare and magical artifacts that we can't supply you with.
Well, I don't know where we would find those things, and I, for one, am ready to leave at any point. So, I guess we're waiting on the rest of you.
Yeah.
I need like a day. I need about a day.
Yeah, a day
roughly.
sounds good to get our affairs here in order to go.
He nods his head and he says, when you're ready, please proceed to the Royal Gantry, slip 87. And he actually like reaches, he walks back to his table, opens a drawer, reaches inside and pulls out a plaque. There's a small metal disc, flattened disc, basically. No, not a disc. It's like a rectangle, and kind of stamped onto the top is the house of the seal of the House of Alexandria. Sorry, and on the bottom of which there's like a series of symbols and numbers, like nonsensical symbols, basically, like geometric symbols. And he says, present this at the gantry, and everything will be arranged for you there. Like I said, this matter is somewhat time sensitive, and the airship has to leave within the next 3 or 4 days.
Yes. Are we gonna get paid before we go or after we go?
Can
He
we
says,
get like a percentage now to help outfit our thing and get the rest when we get back?
roll me a persuasion, someone. I'll give
I'm
you
going
a-
to assist Thalia.
Okay. Yeah, he glances at each of you, and he nods his head.
Well,
Arthur's
And,
shaking
well-
his head in
well-
disapproval.
no, it's just to get the more rare items that we can't. Maybe even just 1,000 gold per
Yeah.
would be helpful.
He reaches it into somewhere inside. Like he pulls open like a drawer from his desk, and he reaches in and he pulls out a small coin sack, and he just like drops it on he underhands it so that it lands on the reading table, that the book that he opened for you, and it lands with a solid rattling chunk. And if you take it and like take a glance inside it, inside it is about 200 platinum, so about 2,000 gold.
That's fair.
I appreciate that. We're really not trying to be greedy. We're going up to the mountains.
No. I need you guys prepared.
And on a personal note, I'm a bit of a big game hunter. If there's any creatures up there, if I were to possibly down one while guarding the thing, I won't make it obviously it's not a priority, but would there be any issues with me bringing back a trophy?
Shakes his head. As long as it fits on the airship and Lieutenant Wilmore has no problems with it, I don't see why not. There are no laws against hunting wild creatures.
Jolly good.
I hear the white wyverns up there are a particularly cunning game.
Well, all game can be cunning, but if you can bring it down before it's aware of you, it doesn't matter.
Yes, so Gantry 87 at the slip 87 at the Royal Gantries. The airship will leave as soon as you arrive and are on board. Yes, by the way, you're reporting to Lieutenant Wilmore if I had not made that clear. He will be not under your command, but I've asked him to assist you as much as he can.
That's appreciated.
I just don't want to redo my macros for the 6th time.
All right. So where are you guys headed after this? He basically, essentially, he sees you out. And again, like last time, there's no queue, but somehow as he's getting ready for you guys to leave, the door simply opens, and the Chamberlain is waiting outside, kind of like stepped off to one side, ushering you out essentially.
Arthur will sort of linger for a second, and he'll turn back to him as he's walking out, like he did the last time, and he'll say, "How much do you know about her?"
Are you
About who? About whom, rather?
He'll say, "The one that is locked away by whatever is in these boxes."
Yeah, Memnon's been the only person who's been mainlining his.
There's a pause. And he'll say, I've never seen the contents of the boxes themselves, so I'm afraid I cannot answer that question.
He just shrugs and walks out.
I was going to make a snarky comment about it must be nice to be able to hire the help, but he gave us he front loaded us some gold, so I will shut up and leave.
Yeah. Thalia will mention to him that she would eventually like to read the history of the House of Alexandria, just as a scholar, quirk, I guess you'd call it, or
You know.
intrigue.
And he says, actually, the best records of the various noble houses are oddly enough typically not found at the actual estates. And he kind of leans in a little bit closer, and he has like a conspiratorial kind of half smirk or grin on his face, and he says, typically the volumes that you find on the estates are, let's just say they're somewhat exaggerated.
They're doctored.
He grins, and he says, if you want complete and accurate accountings of the various houses and their histories, your best bet is to actually visit the royal courts. If you successfully complete this task, I will see what I can do to arrange you and your friends access to the courts.
Milo smiles.
Out of character, Kev, what are the odds of me like making some sort of like dog papoose to bring Marmaduke with us?
Dog what?
Papoose, like
Like a baby Bjorn
Yeah.
for a giant dog.
What, so someone can wear him on a strap on like the front of
So
their
that, like
chest?
when we're climbing these friggin' floating mountains.
Like Bran from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, like I'll be Hodor, and he's Bran, but instead of having a cart, I'm just got him strapped to me.
Sure, why not?
I said.
Because I want to bring Marmaduke, because he can smell things.
You want to bring the dog where there are wyverns?
Oh,
Why not?
And it's a
Nope.
short-haired dog, so he'd be freezing.
You can
know
build
what?
him a parka.
Nope, they're right. I don't want to put him. He's not ready for the big stuff yet, especially with wyverns.
And little snow booties.
Yeah, he's still a young puppy. I will keep him at.
We
I'm
could
gonna
make
keep
him
him at the
a parka
observatory.
made out of giant cats.
You know what? Maybe I could bring him back a parka made out of wyvern. But you know what? I don't remember anything that's happened. So yeah, I'll keep him at the observatory. He's fine.
Okay. Right. So yeah, where are you guys headed now? You again. The Chamberlain leads you back through like around the corner, and yeah, she actually leads you through a kitchen. Weirdly enough, the kitchen has 2 halflings and what you can only describe as a half orc, which is kind of odd to see inside a noble house. And the half orc is currently hammering some dough with just literally a big meaty fist.
Hey, half-orcs are hard workers, man.
Yeah.
They get a bad rap.
But yeah, she leads you through a kitchen for some reason and out the other side. And when you exit out through the door, through the other side of the kitchen, you arrive back in the conference room through the door that you left.
Times a day, and it just turns into a creature.
And when you turn back around and look, it's still the kitchen. Although when you left that kitchen, you were in a hallway somewhere else.
That place gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It's interesting.
I wouldn't say best, but it's got its situation.
Fascinating.
And then she closes the door behind her as you enter, and she just points towards your gear and says, "Your things have been undisturbed. Is there anything you would like for me to fetch you?"
Snowshoes.
Snowshoes would be a great thing.
She lifts an eyebrow.
Are you the one we're supposed to request the simple things from, or is that from someone else? I'm sorry. This might be below your station.
She looks a little bit unclear as to what you mean.
How about we just write you a list and you can give it to his noble, and he will see to it that you get it.
So Lord Alexander told you guys that if you needed things, you could requisition it from Lieutenant Wilmore, who's been
Wilmore, okay.
Never mind. Perhaps we should put a list together now and send it to Wilmore now while we go do our own things.
Well, at this time of night, we probably won't find any runners. We can send it to him first thing in the morning while we're finishing getting ready.
You're speaking amongst yourselves, yes?
Yes.
So the Chamberlain says, "Do you require me to send someone a message on your behalf?"
Oh, well, at this point, then let us down for a moment and we'll create a list really quick. So, snowshoe.
I need a snowshoe and a large, extra long coat,
Large
parka, with a hood.
We should probably get rope as well.
Well, I still have 250 rope and 3 grappling hooks from last time, but
Some
Small
climbing gear.
Parka
we can't have enough climbing gear.
times 2. Medium. She looks at Arthur and goes, "What size coat do you wear?"
He just raises an eyebrow.
Obadiah kind of looks over sheepishly and goes, I need it big, so I need a 3XL.
So we'll just say an extra large, and then a 3X large, 3XLG. Well, we got snowshoes. We need 2 small snowshoes, 2 small, 1 medium.
He actually has
1
medium-sized feet.
Oh, 2 medium, and 1. She looks at Obi. 1 large.
That'd be 13. Sorry, 13.
Rope. So if we already have 200 feet, do you want to say another 100 feet of rope?
I have 250, but as much as they're willing to give us, because we don't know how long. They're floating mountains, and the last thing we need is not enough rope.
At least 100 feet rope. Snowshoes, hood, parka, climbing gear. Climbing gear times 4, 5.
And while this is going on, I'm gonna look over to Pop and say, "Would you be interested in one of these?" And I pull out one of my 2 Howdy pistols that I looted forever ago. It's rather large, and it might be too big for you, but I'm probably gonna trade them in for shelling for my new weapon. But if you want one, I want you to have.
Yeah. Out of character, what's the damage on those?
It's
or the
1d10.
different-
Here, it's on the thing, but you can use both rounds as a special attack and basically turn it into 2d10. But that's only if both barrels are loaded. It's a large pistol. Oh, here, I'll put it in the Discord.
It jams on the first shot.
I was just testing it out. It looks, yeah, this is good.
What?
I have 2 of them.
Mine already does a D10 though.
Times So we have
So the
extra
Howdy
water.
pistol has 2 barrels, and
Measured
so
coat.
it has 2 shot reload. It is, however, not a light weapon and it's not concealable, and it's a heavy weapon.
Yeah, nah, I think Milo would graciously not accept that offer.
But you can, if both barrels are loaded,
Her.
fire both barrels at once as a single attack and do 2d10 damage.
And like I'm holding it by the barrel after he's done looking at it, and kind of like
Oh.
I'm assuming we're standing like in a powwow. I kind of offer it to anyone else. Anyone else interested? Because I'm going to trade them in.
I don't think halflings can wield heavy weapons.
Oh, sad face.
What about
No, they can't.
what about you, Arthur? This is not your type of thing, but I think you maybe rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
He'll just
Well-
shake his head.
They can, but they make the attack with disadvantage.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And I look at Thalia, but she's too busy writing everything down, so I just go, all right, well,
Didn't we have like a jug, the alchemist jug at one point?
I think he had fun creating this map.
I think you bought an alchemist jug. No, it was offered to you. I'm not sure if you bought it.
I think someone bought it because I was going to buy it, but someone beat me to it.
Yeah, someone bought an alchemist jug. I believe it was
Oh,
you
shit,
there.
these are on
That's
deck,
what I
right?
thought, but I don't remember writing it down. So that's why I was going to go through the chat because somebody wrote it down. I thought.
So, how would we all fare against our elemental damage burst?
I did not.
I think you wanted to buy a flask of endless water,
Yes.
but they didn't have one. Instead, they had an alchemist jug.
And I was being cheap because I knew I was going to need to spend a lot of money on my new gun.
No, I didn't know they were that low.
So that's why I didn't bother with that and the crazy fancy leather armor.
Oh, hey! Ouch.
So Arthur will go, I guess, back to his wife and sort of explain that he's going to go on a pilgrimage to a temple of Eos, was it?
Yeah. In fact, I think you're probably the only one who's actually heard of the summit. It's not your holy place, but think of it as like I don't even know, like Jerusalem for Judeo-Christian
Yeah.
religions, like
Yeah,
the
I mean-
Al-Aqsa Mosque or whatever it's called.
He does worship both and like follows both of their teachings or whatever. He just draws his power from Selene.
Yeah, it's one of the
Oh, 300.
few
yeah.
like holy places on the plane. And it I don't know if it's up to you if it is or not, but it could be some place that like Arthur has always wanted to visit but never had the opportunity.
It's like Mecca.
Yeah, precisely. But yeah, before you leave, by the way, the Chamberlain takes down your note or takes your notice, and she glances it over, and she says, "And to whom is this notice addressed?"
To
Lieutenant Wilmore.
Yes, I know of Lieutenant Wilmore. I can get this to him post haste.
She will leave
And I was just gonna point her out.
a
See, guys, I fucking
a
told
after
you.
note on the thing saying if
And
you
then
can think
she'll
of
say,
any
"Okay."
more cold weather gear, please add to list.
Understood.
Listen to Rick in the background. He knows what's going on.
Oh, he's playing his own game.
Yeah, I know. Did he say how long we were? Like, I know the trip takes a week, so it's a week there and a week back. Did he say how long he wanted us to guard it?
As far as you understand, the alignment
By the way, you did.
happens
you
over
did
like a
catch where,
2-week
I
period.
typed into the
Oh,
chat that I was going
so
to
basically-
start
alright,
fighting
I need enough gold to, well, I'm probably good on the ammo, so I'm gonna trade these in, but I need to basically get a month of food for this thing and kind of look down at Marmaduke.
Bosses like fucking them.
I believe if
Future creative religions.
Lord Alexandria or if Lord Alexander has asked Wilmore to assist you with this gear, that should be not a problem.
I was actually talking to the party, but if they're gonna pay for a month of dog food, I'd actually, when she says that, I'm like, Are you guys willing to watch my dog for a month? He's very well behaved. He farts and he needs a big bed, but I mean, if you guys are up to it.
Arthur will say they'll
So
spoil
this is how
him.
many contracts?
He's already spoiled.
The Chamberlain will actually, the first time you see her do anything like non-officious, she'll actually kneel down in front of Marmaduke, and they
Give
have
her
like
a big kiss and then kind of wag his tail and give her big puppy eyes.
they have like a eye to eye for a moment. Like they're just staring at each other, and then the Chamberlain kind of stands back up and says, "Yes, I believe I can look after your dog for her month."
Two ninja for your boss.
I'll have his. You know what? Should I send his rope over, or are you guys gonna give him toys? Because he'll chew on things if he doesn't have his rope.
I'm sure we can find something to occupy his time.
Thank you very much. His name is Marmaduke, and just if you feed him, make sure he can get outside when he wants to. If not, you will regret it.
Marmaduke actually, when you hand over the leash, the Marmaduke actually just like goes and kind of like sits down beside her leg and kind of just like stares at you.
It's
with
okay,
like
buddy. She's gonna take care of you. She's very nice.
yeah. So
He knows that you don't love him anymore.
Oh, I love this dog.
Look at his face.
Don't. You know what? I will go break your cart if you do this to me. This is hard for me.
Oh, you
This
big
is the only
softy.
family I have, and I don't want to. But and I'll just kind of walk away.
you know that scene in John Wick
Nope.
where he leaves his dog with the door with the person behind the counter. it's like that. Yeah. Before you actually leave, she actually says to you guys, Lord Alexander has given me instructions before you guys leave. If you will permit me, I will enact some spell castings upon you to protect you from scrying eyes.
I just need one thing, and I don't mean this to be rude, but what's your name so I know who I turn my dog over to? So
Amelia.
Amelia. And do you have a last name, Amelia, or is Amelia going to work for everyone here?
Amelia can work fine.
Thank you very much. And if you sleep with him, and you scratch behind his ears, and then he'll give you some more space.
Noted. But yes, do you permit the castings?
Thalia agrees to it.
All right. Who is some arcane casters? Actually, I don't believe this is an arcane spell.
Is it proof against things?
This is a
So
Arcane
if we
spell,
were
yes.
to play so
Um,
and done this, none of this would have happened.
Or a non-detection?
yes. Yeah. So she casts non-detection over each of you, and she explains to you that for the next 8 hours, people will be unable to magically keep track of your activities. However, this doesn't stop anyone from simply just following you around. It's like the sign that when you turn on incognito mode for
Just turn off my Wi-Fi for 8 hours.
Actually, I think it worked out better in the end.
it's like the sign on Google Chrome where it says you've gone incognito and like your device won't see your activity or download cookies, but like it won't stop anyone from looking over your shoulder. It's like that.
Boss is learning, guys.
Yeah. And when she actually sees you out, she's actually carrying the notice with like the note, the provisional requirement note that you've given her. And oddly enough, she folds it into a paper plane. And then she just throws it. But unlike a paper plane, it doesn't hit the ground. It simply sails off into the distance. and vanishes out of sight.
I'll look back and kind of like pet Marmaduke, like get down on his level, give him a big kiss, like give me a big sloppy kiss back, pet him on you, and say, "I'll see you when I get back, buddy." And then look at her and say, "Please take good care of him."
That can be assured. And she nods, and Marmaduke kind of like whines a little, but at the same time, his like tail is basically trying to cause an
So
earthquake.
we're like, well, guys, we can do this.
I'm gonna go get. And it's like super late, right?
It's like 8 or 9 here.
I'm going to Battlestones. I need ammo. And I'll take like, can I take like 200 gold of the platinum they gave us?
So 20 platinum.
If that's okay with whoever has it.
I assume someone just added it to the party inventory, right?
Oh, it's on my notes. Well, it's not on my note page, but it's on my paper page.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
taking 20 of it. And I don't even care if Battlestone's awake or not. I'm going to their store and knocking on the door till she wakes up.
Well, we would each get, what, there's 200 platinum, so we would each get 50 platinum?
Well, there's 5 of us now.
Milo's gonna stop at the bookstore,
5, so
and get
40
a,
platinum.
get a book on Arctic and wilderness survival.
So you said 40 platinum each?
4 times 5 equals 20, so yes.
Sweet.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely find a book. There's an entire section. Actually,
Flora and fauna, what to eat, what to not eat.
yeah, and actually, you do find an I wouldn't say an oddity, but an interesting section. It actually teaches you, if you are so arcanically inclined, the spell Protection from Energy.
Like cold energy.
Yeah, well, it can be used for cold, but various other forms as well. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder.
I'm sorry, did Milo say he went to the magic shop? Did I know anyone's going to the magic shop?
Bookstore.
Yeah,
No.
the bookstore. Yeah.
Talia, were you going to the magic shop? I think you might have mentioned it.
She's not going to the magic shop here, because I probably won't have what she wants.
I just-
No,
Whatever.
she's going to go visit Orin.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you find Orin in his office. He appears to be poring over a map, and he's pointing out. Actually, he's talking to Frosty, who is kind of like whose skin is blue for some reason.
Still?
Oh, wow, that's hilarious. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a few days since. No, and actually, it's been about a
It's
week
been like
since you. Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, her skin is still blue. Yeah, and they're going over a map or something, and they say, and you hear Frosty say to him, "Yeah, it's
Level.
just like the others.
He only gets
Like,
into it for
we-
3 sessions.
We
so
followed the
he-
tracks. Must have been 3 days west up into, well, actually towards the direction of the Mistwoods, but eventually
Trip critter.
the tracks just got too old and weathered. The old man says to her,
Well, actually,
What's
I
that,
think
like,
this time Mal's
7
gonna trip critter.
this season? She says 8. And yeah, and then this is a point where like you kind of like come into the room.
She'll just stay off to the
She
side
should have been
at
a
the
paladin.
moment.
Frosty looks up and says, Thalia, when did you get in?
Not just a couple seconds ago.
Dolman says, had a fruitful evening. That's some fancy attire that you've got on. I assume you're still wearing the same thing that you wore to the Silverfall Reverie.
Yes. She completely forgot about it. But is there markers for where groups are supposed to be for the maps?
How do you mean where groups are
Like
supposed
a
to be?
world map in each pin, like where someone is on the map.
There is a world map, but there are no pins indicating where teams are where. But you do see like near the top of the map, a section with a few jagged lines, and beneath it says Shattered Peaks.
Is there a pin on his desk, like a stick pin, where I could put
Yeah,
it?
sure. There's probably some sort of like a stick pin or something.
She takes the pin and puts it right on the peaks, and goes, "We'll be gone for 3 weeks, 4 weeks."
Dolman looks up and says, "Wait, what? Where are you going? Shattered Peaks?
Yes.
What's up? What's up with the Shattered Peaks?"
Alexandria has requested that we help guard something for a short amount of time. Takes about a week to get up there, so about a week to get back, and during this time, apparently the islands up there create a sort of ladder, I guess, that gets to the Temple of Eos that's up there. He wants us
Yes.
to guard something up there.
He clicks his fingers and he says, "Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, the alignment is somewhere around. Yeah, you're right. It's somewhere next month, or this month rather."
Oh, see
Oh, Alexander, you say?
Yes, they requested that we help protect the temple as some ruffians have been inquiring about what it's been guarding.
What it's been guarding?
Apparently, there's a guardian up there, supposedly. So we're gonna go up there, sit for 2 weeks, then come back.
Well, I suppose. He says, we don't currently have any current cases that are urgent, and I suppose it's always useful to have some, let's say, friends in high places. Is it just yourself, or is it
The whole
all
group.
of you? I see.
However,
Don't
yeah.
keep Serafina out of trouble. We've only just got her.
How much trouble can she get in up there, at least? But as a reward, they're going to let us visit the royal court's library.
His eyes go up, and he says, "Well, I see you're making friends in high places."
Make a list of stuff you want us to research up there, and we'll see if we can't do it, at least.
He nods and he says, "You know, Archivist Cycle might be interested in hearing about this. I believe she has several things that she wishes to look into at the Royal Library, but has never gotten the access to do so."
Archivist too?
Cyclor.
Psychor?
Morgan Cyclor.
Oh. Thalia's nose barely twitches in disgust. She's not a fan of Morgan at the moment.
Shattered Peaks, actually. Yeah, I hear it's fairly cold up there all year round. He scratches his chin, his bearded chin, and he says, "You know, you should go speak to Archivist Cyclor. I believe she has some cold weather gear put aside for excursions to cold places."
Alexandria is outfitting us with the basic gear, so unless she has something unusual.
Yes, I believe, what was it, Frosty? And Frosty kind of like turns her nose up, and she says, "Yeah, she has some sort of like medallions or rings or something that protect people against cold. But I've never needed them." And she kind of like twists her hand, and a plume of like ice, basically like almost like a steam puff, comes out from her palm. But it's ice crystals.
There's so many cold jokes, but Thalia's biting her tongue on them. She was just saying that this was just a courtesy visit to let Aura know where they would be. She's just ascending away, so if he needs to send a message, she'll be receptive.
Ah, yes, yes. Very well then. I'll notify the other teams and let them know you'll be out of town.
And if you find any jobs that are along the way or up there, we will see about helping out. But we're on a very tight schedule to get up there.
Yeah, he shakes his head and he says, "No, as far as I know, for whatever reason, you don't typically get spawn up that far north.
Yeah.
Perhaps, it might be a better idea just to relocate the entirety of Helios up that direction.
Might be a
Then we
nice
wouldn't have to
idea,
deal
but
with more nonsense.
might be a good idea, but think of how much we'd all freeze.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I wouldn't put out against putting an outpost of our order up there.
Yeah, he says,
When we might have a chance to
I-
observe this.
I know that there are, let's say, companion organizations, but that operate outside of Helios and in far-flung reaches, but I don't typically deal with them, so I'm afraid I can't tell you that much about them.
Well, like I said, if we even we just put an outpost up there just for record keeping, so if something happens, we have a record.
He says that the best place to inquire will you be visiting Winterhold?
I think we're stopping there. It's the last waypoint before we reach the summit.
He nods his head and he says, "Yes, yes. I think most people who go up that direction stop off at Winterhold. You possibly might spend some time in Winterhold and see if they've got a spawn problem, and report back that information here. I'm sure the council would love to learn what the situation is up there."
Is there somebody specific that's in Winterhold that I could talk to about that?
Shakes his head and says, "We've no representatives or agents up that far north. Winterhold is unknown territory for us."
I'll have to be discreet about my questions then. But I'll go visit Morgan now. But I just thought that you might like to know what's going on. And if
Thank you.
yeah, even then, Milo's illusion magic, we should be able to put on a pretty show about what it was like up there.
Ah, yes, I'm sure the council would be interested in hearing all about your adventure.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Okay, so she'll reluctantly go visit Morgan. But she'll
Frosty
change
waves.
she'll change her
Frosty
personality.
waves goodbye with both hands.
Milo will go with you.
Well, at least
Kev-
Milo doesn't know, so he can act normal. So she'll let Milo do the talking.
Kev, you said that Winterhold didn't have any known magic shops.
No, as far as Alexander didn't know because he's never been to Winterhold.
When I was at the magic shop last time with everyone, I believe there was a ring of jumping. Did I overhear that?
No, a belt of levitation.
Oh, I thought it was.
There was a
jumping.
ring of jumping.
It was a ring of jumping, yeah.
Did I overheard that?
Oh yeah, there was a ring of jump, a ring of feather fall, and then the belt of levitation.
Because I'm assuming just if I had a ring of jumping, it would make climbing ropes a lot easier. As in,
I
like,
mean,
you know,
Literally allows you to jump 3 times your normal height.
which is, and I can do that for a minute for 3 times with this ring per day. So I think that would make that easier. And as someone who's, but I don't think I can make it there and back. Like, it's pretty far away. Like, I'd have to take a night train, get there in the morning, wake up, come back, and then make my other stop, and then head to the split.
However, at that point, you'd be able to sleep on the Zeppelin.
That's true. Do I remember how much the ring of jumping was? Because I don't have
400.
that much. Oh, man.
That would be exactly what you just got.
It would be, but I need to buy more stuff for my. I need to make more ammo for my new gun. I was going to trade in some Howdy pistols to Black uh, Battlestone, but I don't know how much they'll give me for it. Oh God, I'm so fat. I don't know what to do. You know what? Nope, I am fat. He's gonna say I'm gonna go take the night train to the magic shop and get that ring.
Hey, get me a handy haversack while you're there.
Well, I hope you don't expect me to talk her down, and I'll kind of put my hand out for currency.
Yeah, I do believe that was 400 as well.
No, I believe Handy Haversack was much more expensive.
Name brand stuff.
I think they have bags of holding. She said
Anything
they,
with a name.
I seem to recall. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Thalia. You might need to go back to video records, but I seem to recall that it was around 2,000 gold.
but the
That
guy,
might be
the
why I didn't
person-
write it down.
But I know because the guy was looking at me exclusively. He said he got a whole bunch of bag of holdings in recently, and he was looking
Yeah,
at me
they
to buy
were
one.
like 200 gold or something.
So
yeah.
I can
There
get
we
you a
go.
bag of holding.
Yeah, they hand you the appropriate amount of gold.
How many
200.
bags of holding do we have now? 2?
I have a satchel of holding. It's not nearly as big.
Yeah, so its volume is roughly the same amount as a bag of holding. It's just the opening is much smaller.
It's about half.
Yeah.
Which it's just enough for me to fit my guns into and my reload stuff. So yeah, I'll take the overnight to go get the ring of jumping and pay the 400 for, and then
Thalia will give you 200 to get her a bag of holding.
so yeah, I'll get 2 bags of holding. Well, don't you have one already?
I don't remember, but if we're
I'm pretty sure you do, because I think you bought one there.
I
Yeah.
didn't think I bought one.
One of you has a bag of holding from one of the.
I think that one was me. That was from
Yeah,
the butcher.
you bought it. Yeah, the butcher had one. Yeah, and you got that one. So like, if I have the satchel, you have the bag, and if I get Milo a bag, and I think Arthur put all of his alchemy stuff in mine.
Yeah, if we were going to be away for a while, he would pack all of his gear in somebody's bag of holding.
Yeah, so we'll just get another bag of holding just so we have
Okay.
the extra room.
So yeah, so I'll get 2 bags of holding and the ring of jump, and then if I have enough time, I'm gonna stop at Battlestone and do business with her.
Hey, actually, why don't you get the bag of? Why don't you pass on the satchel of holding to Seraphina and get the bag of holding for yourself using Thalia's money?
I'm not gonna say no to that.
Speaking of which, Seraphina, which group are you following? Because they've kind of split up here at the moment.
I guess I will. You know what? Let me flip a coin real quick. I'll follow Thalia.
Oh, Thalia. Okay, so she's back at the observatory then.
Okay. So when you. So go ahead, Arthur.
I was just going to say, after he's done like informing his wife what's going to happen, he would probably go back to the observatory. And does he run into Frosty while he's there?
Yes.
Yeah. Frosty is seemingly in deep conversation with Oren about something to do with
So Ideo doesn't just
a map of the
Ideo
local
doesn't
area
just
outside of
like,
Helios.
impulsively go out and kill it.
He'll say,
On the entire base.
"Still blue or again blue?
Again, blue.
And do you wish it to be gone?"
Wait, can you remove it?
Try.
I assume so.
That would be most appreciated. This is highly irritating. And she like just looks down at her forearm.
Yeah, so he'll just walk over and cast remove curse on her to see if that works.
I believe it does actually. I don't recall wild magic exactly, but I think remove curse does remove it.
It's his strongest remove thing spell that he has, so he's
Yeah.
hoping it works.
Yeah, so yeah, you touch it and it's almost like some sort of reverse skin infection where it just starts to bloom out from the spot that you touched. And then she looks kind of like very pleased and she just kind of like turns her arms over and over. Once it starts clearing up, she says, "Hey, it worked!"
And he'll just say, "If you ever need it again, you know where to find me." Well, most of the time, anyways.
Yeah, can you do anything about explosions? The spontaneous kind?
He'll give a faint smile and shake his head.
Yeah, Barker's not too happy with me at the moment.
He's still alive, yes?
Yes, but he's missing some of his beard. And she kind of rubs the back of her head.
He thinks for a second and then he says, it wouldn't work,
See how
and
we
then
can screw that
walks
up.
out of the room.
Somewhere, for no reason, Obadiah laughs hysterically for like a minute. He doesn't understand why, but he just knows he has to cackle.
You start laughing for no reason. On
No
the
reason.
microphone.
Barker
No
lost his
one's
beard. I don't know
appreciative
that.
of
I don't know
one
why,
thing.
but I uncontrollably cackle for a minute for no reason why.
That's cool.
I'm
Understand.
on the train by myself. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so what do you guys say when you find Morgan? Fitzgerald's nowhere to be found. Morgan is apparently,
This song.
at the moment, restacking some books onto some shelves from a cart.
We are going to see Morgan for the rings. Is that correct?
Apparently she has some cold weather gear.
So Milo will go up to Morgan and say, "Hi, dear."
Oh, hello, Milo. Do you need something?
I do. I wish we could just hang out and talk, but I'm going on a bit of an adventure, and it's gonna be cold.
Oh,
I heard a little rumor that you have something that might help with that.
yes. You're looking for cold, and she like glances around.
Do you have a ring of "Don't freeze my balls off"?
No, we have no jewelry for let's say regions down under. Uh,
Oh.
but yeah, and she says, "Might I ask where you're going? It's summer here."
Ah, we're going somewhere up north.
Oh, you're going to the peaks.
The peak, the pilgrimage.
Ah, yes, I've always wanted to go up to the Shattered Peaks myself, but... And she looks around the library and says, responsibilities and duties.
Oh, well, screw that. You only live once. Come with us.
And she says, yes, and if I were to come with you, and she like gestures at the cart beside her, when I come back, this place will be completely shuffled, and probably half of it will be half on fire. So I'm afraid I have to decline.
Ah, sorry to hear that, but would you be able to help us?
Ah, yes. Give me one moment. And she nods at Seraphina and Thalia. And she, like, goes into her office, comes out with a ring of keys, and actually heads downstairs into, like, the workshop / laboratory area.
Milo's taking special note of where she got the keys and what key she seems to be fishing for.
Okay.
And then also, what was she, just organizing books and putting them in alphabetical order or something?
Yeah, it seems like, you know, it's the classic case where, like, librarians don't want you to put back the books on the shelves. Because, like, you'll mess up their system because you're an idiot and they're a librarian.
Yeah.
So
He
they
won't
want
do
you
that,
to...
but if they were like, if she was like going through the books and removing loose papers that people shoved in there and other like mundane things that might help her out while she's doing the rest, he's gonna do that.
Yeah. And so she comes back up, and she actually has a small box, like it's almost like a cigar box. Or actually, it's probably more in the shape of like a pencil box if you've ever seen one of those. No, pencil boxes don't exist anymore because no one uses pencils. It's a dice box, basically.
Oh.
But yeah, she opens them up, and inside of them are these tiny, 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 almost like needles. In fact, they almost look exactly like needles, except they're much too short to do with any sewing, any form of sewing. And she says, yes, these are these will. Here, let me show you. And she says, do you have your watch with you?
Oh, yeah. He fishes around for it and pulls it out.
Yeah, and she like basically takes it from you, pops it open, and takes one of these needles within, and kind of touches the needle to the glass surface of the watch on the interior, and you watch as the needle sinks through the glass until the centerpiece hooks onto one of the, like I told you within that there were like, I think it was like 5 or 6 needles, and one counted time, one counted minutes, one counted seconds, and then you weren't exactly sure what the other two did, and she adds a third, a 6th needle onto there, and then she hands you back the watch, and she'll say, now this will take a moment to reattune yourself, but within an hour you should have cold resistance for at least a month. Sometimes give or take a week, so when I say a month, count it as more 2 weeks to be safe, maybe 3 weeks. It's not permanent, it's just an enchantment, but it should work for where you're going. This won't, look, just be careful, this won't stop you from dying of exposure, but it should make it more pleasant, let's say. It won't make frostbite any more unpleasant, but just be careful.
It would make dying from exposure like
No.
less
This won't,
unpleasant.
this won't prevent you from dying from exposure, is what I'm saying.
I know. Well, thank you.
Thalia? Seraphina?
Thalia will mention to her, as a reward for this quest that we're going on, we're being given access, or we're going to be tried to get access to the Royal Court's library. Is there anything that you would like us to research?
Oh,
You see,
and she kind of like, she was like, I assume you guys handed her your watches, right? While she
Yes.
does
so I just have to
Okay,
sneak
so,
up behind him.
she glances up from like working on yours, and she says, "Wait, what? The Royal Library?
Yeah.
I'm drunk.
Who's this? Who's tasked you to go to Shattered Peaks?
Alexandria?
House Alexandria."
Yeah.
She finishes with your
So,
clock piece and
what
says,
we're talking about.
That's interesting. You've gotten access to the Royal Library, or as a reward?
As
they
a
were going
reward.
to- She'll say, well, okay, yes, there are a few subjects that I've wanted to investigate, that can't be found in other sources.
Well,
Probably
well-
nothing of interest to you.
no, but if you'll write it down with points of interest that you'd like us to search for, just leave it in my bedroom, and then when we get back, if we get access, then I'll look it up for you.
She smiles at you and she says, thank you. I will think about it, and I'll, like you said, I'll leave you a list of subjects of interest. How long is your excursion planned for?
Well, it's a week to get up there, a week to get back, 2 weeks there, supposedly.
She says, I can have a list ready by then. And she kind of like, as she finishes doing Serafina, you can kind of like see her looking about the library, as if like looking for, oh, that book is over there, that book is over there. I'm gonna need this one. I'm gonna need that one.
Well, quote unquote free will.
Yeah, but she hands you it back and she says, "Do your companions require similar enchantments?"
Yes, they will. But Seraphina's right here, so she'll probably get Seraphina's watch done. But Obi and Milo, Obi and Arthur.
Are any of you familiar with the spell protection from energy?
Oh, I just read a book about that.
If you take one of these needles and touch it to their clock pieces, their timepieces, and channel the spell through it, the needle should merge with their clock piece, and the enchantment should be active. And she hands you an additional 2 needles.
Ah. I'll let them know.
Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it. Remember, points of interest. I'm not doing an in-depth search for the library. Because we're not sure how long we'll be given access.
She nods at you, and she glances over her shoulder at something, and then she looks back and she says, "Yes, points of interest. Okay, I'll make sure it is brief." When are you leaving?
Yeah, I knew
So
that
we are
Raina was
leaving
gonna
tomorrow
come.
morning.
I just knew it.
She nods.
Well, let's be honest, tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. So I assume you guys leave her to her filing.
The setup was too overwhelming.
Yep.
That was one of those situations in the video.
Okay,
game
so,
the story.
Are we missing anyone's doing any activity? So Obadiah, we won't go through the whole thing, but like you get there,
See the 3 rings of spell casters?
essentially, you get there, the shop is closed, obviously. So you have to basically wait for it to open in the morning.
I'll just
so
kinda
you find
sleep.
your.
Like a bum in the overhang.
There is an inn, if you recall correctly.
I'll sleep in the overhang like a bum.
Sure. Okay.
Open, I'm not going to try to haggle because I can't.
Right. So precisely. So, ring of jumping is, I believe,
400?
it's 300 from both, or go again.
300, yeah, 300, yeah.
Well, if you're going to buy, if you're
Buy a
going
ring
to
of
buy
jumping,
bags
2
of
bags of
holding
holding.
and the ring of jumping, yeah, he'll offer it to you for a discount of 300.
Well, then, yeah, I'll get those. And then once I have both bags of holding, I will dump my satchel of holding into a bag of holding. But I will grab the. I don't believe I remember the. Do I remember killing the butcher at all?
Wait. You're dumping your satchel of holding into a bag of holding?
Yeah, because I'm giving the
You mean
satchel.
the contents, right?
Yeah, the contents.
contents.
Yeah, the contents. I'm not putting. No.
This will be our next
basically-
adventure.
No, dumping the contents of my satchel of holding. into the
Obadiah
bag.
runs off of your spells with your gold and never comes back.
And everything goes white, and it's just no. I'm dumping the contents of my satchel into the bag of holding.
So, is this the part where I give you access to Toga of Hades?
No. I'm not putting the actual satchel in the bag. But do I remember killing? Do I remember killing the butcher at all?
And then go back to.
Yes, you do.
Because I have I was looking through it, and I have a vial of goop, which I believe was from the butcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, well, that's fine. And I'm gonna basically dump all the stuff from my satchel onto the floor, and then dump it into my bag. Get another bag for Milo. Get the ring of holding for 300, and then we'll head back to town on the morning train.
All right. That should wipe out a substantial amount of the 2,000 gold that you were just given.
Thalia didn't give him the gold from that. She has her own surplus. She barely buys any. Yeah, she barely buys anything.
Yeah, I spent my own 300.
Yeah, I
On
spent
the
my
ring.
own 150,
Milo
I guess
spent
it
his
was.
own 200 on the bag, and then so did Thalia.
All right. So when do you guys travel to
unpaid.
the Royal
Like I said,
Gantry?
I really want to keep
I gotta
going
make
on
one more
that,
stop
it's
at
really, really, really
Battlestone, and then
fair.
basically when I get back, I'm going to Battlestone and then
This
head to the
seems
slip
a
right
lot
away.
better, I think,
Okay.
I started
And when
creating
I get to her, I'm going to pull out my two Howdy pistols and a coat pistol
sixth grade.
and kind of slap them all down on the counter and say,
Oh, I did
look,
write
you
that
can
down.
have all three of these. I just need powder, lead, and shells for my rifle. I need 100 rounds.
Yeah. She glances down at them, and she
Okay.
says, "Yeah, sure.
What system?
How is your little project working out?"
Look at this bad boy, and I'll
I think
show
I
her
got 3-5 in Pathfinder,
the
so-
ridiculousness that is Griswold's Revenge.
Just keep in mind that that device, that receiver, is experimental. I've had a couple of mishaps with it on the bench, and she gestures over her shoulder, and you see her. It's not a rifle. She's got it in like a test rig, so there's no stock. There's no, and the
Well-
trigger is being pulled by a string.
Do you have anything like, if worst case scenario something explodes, do you have anything I could use like to patch it before I bring it back to you? I'm going to wait for about a month, and
I've only played
just
it
like
for
I need
the
a,
expansion
if
for
something
the
happens,
game,
I need to band-aid
but
it. Do
I
you
played
have
the
anything?
original World of
She
Darkness
she
campaign,
nods, but she
and
looks at you with a look,
and Mummy.
and she
Everyone just swing
says,
a turn or two and
"I
send those in.
do, but it's magical."
Well, can I, can I? I'm going to get a lot of money when I get back. If not, I will. You will have access to everything I've left back.
Something someone doesn't like.
Well, I will. If I die, you can have everything I own. There's a dog. He's worth a lot.
I'd rather you didn't die.
Well, I don't want to die either, but just in case something happens, and if you have something magical, I have someone that can actually do it for me that I actually trust. If something
It's-
happens, worst case scenario.
Look, I'm not a spellcaster myself. As far as I understand this, it's simply
I've played a couple of those.
a temporary patch.
Yeah, I have people that can do that.
Deadlands has a
I
pretty
would rather come back to you and pay you for it, but if I don't use it, I can give it back to you.
Sure. And she goes and fetches you like 3 casks of gunpowder, like basically enough lead to make 100 rounds, and as well as the sorted brass for it in the larger caliber. She asks if you want the standard rifle caliber as well.
I laugh and I pop it open and I take out the 3 rounds and show them to her.
Yeah.
I made it just so it fits. You know how you wanted the sabots for your rounds? I made it fit through perfectly. Look at these things. They're so goddamn pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, and she comes back with for lack of a better term, a wide band-aid. It's like made out of cloth. And she says, from my understanding, you attach this over the rent or the warp in the middle, and some sort of magic or something returns it to its condition before the trauma. My understanding is it doesn't last for more than an hour or so, so you're going to have to make physical repairs to it afterwards anyway.
Okay, that's fine. And after trading in the guns, and I have, well, do you have any like spare parts for repair? And I have like, I'll throw down the 100 gold.
Yeah, she'll come back with various bits and pieces that, often non-magical parts of the receiver and the barrel. It's various like patch kits and stuff that you would use to maintain your rifle. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, all right, that's fine. And then I will thank her and say, when I get back, if we have more things to discuss, I'm gonna.
It is, by the way, now when you're doing this, it's in the afternoon because
Yeah, I
that would
know.
have taken that long.
I know,
Come
that's fine. Yeah, and I'm being as fast as possible. I'm not like, not shitting, but I'm like, I'm basically throwing everything in my bag and say, when I get back, I'm gonna have another schematic and run out the door.
So, do the rest of you wait for him to the afternoon of the next day before you go to the royal gantry, or do you go there in the morning?
Arthur would have stopped by the store and bought a bunch of jugs.
Just empty jugs?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. You can buy a bunch of jugs.
For cleric things, you know?
Yeah, for cleric things. I understand.
Milo.
No, that's not it.
Oh, very nice. Milo wants to see if sunscreen exists, because exposures.
So sunscreen doesn't exist, but there are spells and little spell worked clothing that acts in a similar manner.
Yeah, he's gonna get some. In addition to whatever clothing, like the coat and whatnot, and some insulated pants and whatnot. He is.
Snow goggles.
That's not a bad idea. Not like a hat that will kind of that has like a towel or some kind of cloth that comes down on the sides and back. I forget what you call that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he'd be able to like pull it closed around, like tight around his face, almost like
Yeah.
a ski mask.
It's like what are they called? Like I think it's like
Usually
sewers or
it's
something.
him in hot environments, but he figures it would just keep the he can keep the wind out a little bit, and he won't get burnt.
Yeah, sure. You can find an article, something like that.
And I'm
It's-
totally
it's-
gonna make sunscreen too at some point. I'm
It's
gonna make it like
probably like
SPF 5000.
it's probably like you found it at a costume shop rather than like a clothing shop.
That's good enough. In fact, probably they, with all the costumes and different things at Beacon Hill, they probably have something I could borrow.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So the rest of you, like I said, do you go to the gantry during the morning, or do you wait till Obadiah
We
meets up with
probably
you
meet
guys?
Obadiah at the train station.
Okay. So Obadiah, you arrive back at the station, and they are there waiting for you.
I'm like, I'm sorry. It took so long. And then I'll throw Milo his bag of holding, and I'll throw Serafina if she's there. I don't know if they're there. If it's just Thalia, I will follow her.
Obadiah looks a little bit bruised because he got tackled by a bunch of like shop patrons and like a shop guard when he tried to put his satchel of holding into his bag of holding, and everyone was like, "No!"
Yeah, whatever. I was very tired. I did not have very good sleep in the overhang.
Maybe he didn't mean to join back into the voice chat.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
When I get to the boat with everyone, I will throw Serafina the satchel of holding. Say, "Here you go. This is for you." I will throw Milo his satchel. I will thank Thalia for her 200 gold, and I'll kind of show her the bag. Thank you very
So-
much.
The Royal Gantry is located across the river, south of town, up on a windswept hill, lined with switchback cliff faces. The building itself purportedly used to be an old monastery of some sort to a forgotten order. However, it has been renovated into a large, imposing 4-story building spanning at least 200 to 300 feet along its longest side. The tallest side of the building faces towards the city and sits atop the edge on the very precipice of a tall 400-foot cliff. The cliff itself actually is not that high, but the drop-off goes down into a gulch that is beneath the level of the city. The bottom of the gulch is covered in slow-moving, mossy, algae-ridden water. Atop the 4-story monastery lies a long walkway suspended by a truss-like construction that is built up over the top of the building. the length of the building. 4 aside to each of this walkway atop the top of this building is anchored for 8 airships. No, is space to anchor 8 airships. However, only 3 airships at the moment are docked. The perimeter of this monastery, of this gantry building, is heavily patrolled by military personnel wearing blue coats, holding modern rifles and sharp, deadly-looking sabers. They eye you with some interest as you, a small group of ragtag individuals, approach the gate.
And Arthur's got like 10 jugs wrapped around a rope, and he's trying to like juggle them and be like, "Hey, does anyone? Can I put this somewhere?"
Yeah, if I'm there, I'm like, well, I can fit like 5 in my thing.
They weigh 4 pounds apiece.
Yep, I will, and I'll kind of just open up my new bag of holding and say, chuck them in.
Okay, he'll chuck all 10 of his jugs in there.
I'm marking them down now.
It's something you might want to just talk about.
Sure.
and find the rules for before
He'll
you
say
decide
they're
to
for
do
water
it.
emergencies.
Whatever. I'm not going to question you.
Or urine, severe emergencies.
I'm not going to question him. If he needs 10 jugs of urine, we will have them.
Hello.
He'll look at Milo and he'll say, "Water."
So a guard at the gate calls out to you guys and says, "Hold there! Who approaches? State your business."
House of Alexandria sent us.
And he gestures for you to approach. You're about like 50 feet out.
Poor boss. He has so many loose ends to tie up in one session.
None of them are brandishing weapons, but you can tell that they are alert.
I like the fact I have Arthur's jugs in my inventory.
Juggy.
Yep, and he's juggy. That makes me laugh.
Juggies, jugs.
The man of
No, come on now. Let's not break the fourth wall.
All right. So what do you guys do?
We walk up.
Okay. So yeah, the guard holds out a hand expectantly.
She hands him the metal piece.
Right. He takes the metal piece. He walks into a guardhouse that's beside the gate, and he does something to it out of sight. And then
he's
about
basically debating, like,
30
who
seconds
wants
later,
to
he comes back out holding it and hands it back to you, and he says,
Oh,
"Everything seems to be in
yeah.
order. Welcome to the Royal Gantries." And he turns around and he gives a short staccato whistle, 3 short blasts. And the gates themselves start to crank open, and the guards standing in front of them step to one side to allow you to walk through. So the gates that open are these little side gates about 15 feet wide,
Well, I mean, I think,
about
honestly think Eric's
10 feet
character
tall,
might honestly have
gilded,
together.
but sturdy
Saw
looking,
it used once,
beside of
he
which stands
basically
these
already said it was a
gargantuan,
suicide bomber anyways.
like 40 feet wide, 30 feet tall, solid
I've heard
looking
him say so many times
metal
that he's
doors.
decided to get her out.
They almost look like some sort of like a ramp or some sort of gate. However, that sits closed. It's the personnel gate that opens. Yeah, and you guys, I assume you guys go through?
Yes.
Right, so of what you did not see behind the construction wall, the outer wall, there's a series of low-lying, flat barracks-like buildings with various other forms of military-looking utilitarian office buildings, and one with a medicines caducus, whatever they're called. To simplify, it's a hospital. The building of your particular interest is the restored old monastery with this truss-like support holding up this walkway high above the building. No guards stop you. You do get you know, the odd, not the, actually quite a few pairs of eyes follow your progress, as you seem to be one of the very few individuals amongst the facility not in uniform of some form of other. Uh, you approach the gantry building where you are again challenged by another guardsman who asks you for the same pass. After he, you know, inspects it or whatever he does with it in a side office, he returns it to you and gestures for you to follow him. He leads you up into an elevator powered by some sort of steam, some sort of chain system that's attached to a steam engine. He throws a series of complicated levers and takes you, utilizing this elevator, up 4 stories onto this walkway, 30 feet wide, like I said, 200 feet long, with spaces enough for a side to anchor 4 airships to each side. He leads you to gantry, slip 87, anchored at the head of which is anchored tail first. So, is it tail stern? Stern first?
Stern is the front and the rear is the bow is the front.
Yeah, stern is the rear. So anchored
we're
stern,
It seems to me that the
anchored by the stern is an airship, a ship that superficially resembles a sailing ship, a gallon in this respect, although longer, sleeker, and without the multiple stories of a gallon. As far as you can tell, there's only 3 stories, plus like the top deck, which is like the raised area where the captain's cabin is.
Atop a galleon.
Atop this airship sits 3 interlinked Zeppelin-like air sacs filled to the brim. They are sky blue with a dark blue stripe that runs horizontally along the length of these three shit, I don't even know what they're called. These 3 balloons? I guess they're called balloons.
I would think so.
The thing that immediately catches your eye is that there's some sort of currently some sort of loading process going on at the moment where sailors in blue uniforms are busy carrying crates onto some sort of a little trolley that's dangling by a hook that suspends over the side of the ship. And upon finishing loading this trolley, the crane would lift this pallet up and onto the ship, where some other sailors would begin to unload it into the cargo hold. There is a ramp that sits halfway down the side of the ship. So actually, it's not, the ramp doesn't lead to the top, to the deck of the ship. Instead, it seems to go directly into the open side of one of the ships. Sorry, into like the middle. No, sorry, the bottom deck. The ramp itself seems to be off part of the ship itself, as if it could fold up and seal the gap that the side of the ship has opened. And upon walking up the ramp is a metal construct, measuring at about 7 feet tall, 3 or 4 feet wide, solid gray steel construction. But that's not the thing that catches your attention. The thing that catches your attention is the sound. The sound is familiar. Familiar to 2 of you. Arthur and Thalia, you last heard the sound when you were ducked into a side room after witnessing the lady with the burning eyes blow down the door to
Stompy,
the room.
stompy?
With, the stomping, hissing sounds. Each time this construct takes a step forwards, there's a solid stop, and then a hiss as an outgassing of steam erupts from various ports along its leg that it just stood down on. and then the next foot would move forwards, and it's like a slow, deliberate stomp, 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 as this thing walks its way up the ramp. There is another one that's waiting its turn up the ramp. However, its pilot, or the person who's controlling it, is currently out of it. And Thalia, it is someone you recognize. It is one of the halflings that you saw at the Silverfall Reverie. The male one that was sitting on the bar.
Okay.
He seems to be in conversation with a tall half elf in an officer's uniform, and they finish up their conversation as you approach, and the halfling climbs up into the chest cavity area and lowers down like the chest piece to seal himself within, and with a rattle and a like a steam shriek coming from like some ports near its chest, the thing seems to power up, climb from its like slouched posture to a more upright posture. It begin to slowly make its way, moving up the ramp into the bow of the ship. And I will actually post an image of what I'm describing. And just keep in mind that the figure pictured here is about the size of a halfling, so not full-size human. So in terms of your height, the top of your forehead probably comes up to this thing's chin.
Well, if I'm there, I recognize new armor when I see it.
She looks at Milo. If Milo told her about the Panton office, then she'll ask, "Is this what you're competing against?"
Oh, this is a monstrosity. I just wanted something to help out the average person. It's way too much for the average person.
Well, at least you know what it looks like now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna investigate more on this trip.
Or invest.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing?
Is it within, like, are we walking up the same ramp that it walked up?
No, you're currently like actually I'll doodle. Why not? So the ship is kind of like this. Why do I have like a trillion spells open? So the ship is kind of like this. If I can draw a proper shaped ship and not go.
That works.
And the top of the gantry runs kind of like that, and one of the slips has like a sideways jetty that runs out like this, and here is like the crane
plank?
and like the pallet that they're loading things onto, and then at the tip of there's like some sort of like a boarding plank at the end that goes like up onto the top deck, and then like partially partially on the way down is another plank that goes into the side of the ship. It has a slight incline. Has a very slight incline, but that's the thing that these heavy construct suits are walking up, and the officer is kind of like standing here, and you guys are kind of like, I guess, here-ish, approaching that direction.
And this is the ship we're supposed to get on.
It does say slip 87.
So Arthur will just ask Thalia, "You think this is our guy?" Pointing to the officer, or sort of nudging his head to the officer.
Yeah, she'll probably go up and say we're looking for Wilmore.
Ah, yes, that is I. You're the consultants that Lord Alexandria have sent?
So yeah, I've just sent
Yes.
back from the blood.
Very good, very good. When are you looking to disembark?
Whenever you guys are ready.
Oh, excellent, excellent. He glances up, and he whistles. He like
Yeah, that's
he
not
he
a
puts
waste of
his
time. I mean, Peter Girl
uh,
tried to
two fingers in his mouth and lets out a sharp whistle.
You cut the rope.
And then someone up on top of the ship kind of like runs up and leans over one of the banisters, and then just says, she just says, yells out, "Eh?" And then
Oh, it's
the lieutenant
actually
yells up,
happening.
"What's the progress?"
Oh yeah, it's taking laps,
And
but yeah.
the female figure yells back down, "Uh, Captain says 2 hours." Uh, and turns back to you and says, "We should be able to cast off in 2 hours if that's suitable for yourself."
Yes, you got a note last night from Amelia about requisitions?
Yes, yes. The majority of that stuff is already in the hold. I'll have it delivered to your stateroom.
One word.
State?
Grant.
Was there anything else that you thought of that we might have needed?
Uh, we're fairly well provisioned in terms of gear and other types of things to suit the environment. Um, Most of the stuff, if you can think of it, we've got it. The only thing that we're somewhat lacking is well, actually, no, actually, he doesn't add the last part. He seems to think that everything is fine. He seems to be fairly confident that they've gotten everything that they need for this trip.
I'd like to ask him 2 questions because I'm assuming I'm there.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Do you have an extra coat, a fur coat for like just randomly?
He nods and he says, "We have extra sets of clothing just in case some damage."
I'm gonna need an extra coat because I need. And do you have a bow sharpshooter?
Uh,
Someone who stands by the bow and makes sure if there's any issues on the ground they can pick it off.
he says,
Or do you have a sharpshooter on the boat at all?
yes, we have three.
Where could I find them?
We have three qualified marksmen.
Where can I find them?
They should be at the moment assisting in the loading. You'll probably find them in the cargo hold. Although I'd ask you to stay out of their way until we're
Oh,
underway.
obviously. And then I'm gonna take the XS, the smaller, well, whatever coat they give me. I'm gonna cut off the fur, and if I can, I'm gonna glue it to the inside of my combat mask so it doesn't freeze in my face. Now that I have, a fancy night vision goggles with it.
Right. So before you do all of that, before he calls out into the ship, Pippin, Pippin, and then like a swole halfling comes running down the ramp, and he says, "These are our guests. Show them to the stateroom." And Pippin says, "Aye, sir. Gentlemen, lady, if you'll follow me." And yeah, and he goes further down the jetty until it gets to the ramp that goes up. Takes you to seemingly some sort of like a small room aboard the ship. And he says, "We have one additional room similar to this. I'm afraid you don't each get your own room. This is a military ship after all. We don't have space to spare." And you look inside the room, and the room has 4 beds. And the other one, he shows you, that's across the hallway, also has 4 beds. And they're bunk beds, by the way, so it's not like 4 beds, 4 beds. 2 beds in a bunk configuration.
Oh, I'm taking the bottom bed.
Milo will take the top.
Well, us girls will go into the other room then.
Pippin, when the sharpshooters are unloading, please send them to an area where I can meet them.
Sure.
Thank you.
May I ask why?
I just I need to talk shop with someone. It's been a while. I just need to talk shop with riflemen.
It's probably best for you to find them in the mess hall once we're underway.
So be it.
I'm not entirely sure
No, it
the
wouldn't have been
the
the cost.
Sharpies
It
are
would've
up,
been us trying
allowed
to
up here on the
so I got
officers.
to know her, and I
Well,
got
Uh,
to know
officer
if I were to tell you to invite them,
I
would
got
they
to know her
decline?
so I could open up.
Sure, no, they would be.
Then send them up here, Pippin.
He kind of grins at you. Um,
And Pippin,
and
and if you need something else, you get double rations today. If they have any issues with it, you send them to me.
understood. Is that all? Is there anything else? I need to get back to the.
That's all I need, and I'll look at everyone else.
I think we're set. Thalia's like laughing.
Right. As Pippin goes to leave, but he leaves walking backwards, as in like he kind of like backs away from you lot, and before he turns away to run down a flight of stairs. Actually, he jumps so that his he rides the banisters down. I don't know if you've ever seen that on a Navy ship. Basically,
Yeah.
he
I
puts
have.
his feet on the banister and just slides down. But before he does that, he gives Seraphina the sauciest wink.
Ooh.
Yeah, basically.
The
Yeah,
Navy
and-
ships, sir, they call them ladders.
Yeah, yeah. It's essentially a ladder. Yeah, it's not really a staircase, but it's a ladder canted at an angle.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
Thalia will mention to Seraphina, if you want the bunk room for a night, I will go sleep with the boys. How old is Seraphina?
She's about 27.
No, yeah, she's.
Yeah, so it takes about an hour and a half before you hear further activity in your section of the ship, and it's Lieutenant Wilmore, and he comes up the ladder and he knocks on each of your rooms, and he just says to you, "We'll be getting underway shortly. Are you ready to leave?"
I honestly think about this. How far my character actually lives.
10-4.
Yeah, and by the way, inside your room are all of the items that you requested, and with a note that says the rations and the water will be kept inside the cargo hold until we're ready to disembark.
I'll look over to Arthur. Is this the water you want? Do I need to fill this up and dump it in my bag, or do you want to wait till later?
I'm just worried about his little sister that doesn't know.
He'll say, "Oh no. Yeah, I can make the water. It's fine."
Okay,
You
well,
can make
just
the water.
making sure.
He's making water.
Hey,
Yeah, create or destroy water.
I am not one
Gallons
that.
of water.
Arthur has never let me down. I will do whatever he wants.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's been the butt of that joke.
So as you're talking, someone comes down a ladder from. So I'll actually draw the hallway that you guys are kind of in. So there's like a room. That's not drawing tool.
Oh, I was working on the roll 20.
So it's like a room like this, right? On one side it's a room like this, and on the other side's another room, and there's like a corridor in the middle, right? And then there's like a staircase that goes down, and then into like a cargo hold area, and then there's like a staircase that there's. Sorry, the hallway goes on for longer, obviously, and there's other.
The entire time since I've been in my bed, I've been napping because I had a long night.
But yeah, there's like, sorry, it's a dirty drawing, but in the middle of the hallway, there's like another staircase that goes up. And then there's like obviously some sort of room at the end of the hall. But yeah, someone comes down from the staircase, and it's a wizened old human, and he's got a smoking pipe dangling out from the corner of his mouth. Top of his head, he wears a captain's hat basically. And Lieutenant Wilmore kind of like stomps his feet together and stands to attention. He says, "Captain," and the captain doesn't really bother saluting. He just kind of tips his head sideways, and then says, out of the corner of his mouth, he says, "These are guests." And Lieutenant Wilmore says, "Aye, Captain." He says, they stowed away and ready to go.
The middle one.
And he glances at each of you and says,
I didn't
yes,
click
I
on
think
it.
so.
It popped up for me.
Very
Oh,
well.
that one.
We'll be underway within the hour. And he turns towards, the captain turns towards the rest of you and says, I'd appreciate if you stayed out of the crew's way while we're getting underway. We don't want any mishaps.
Can I borrow your Sharpies for a little bit? I need to talk shop.
That would be under
Yeah, I really don't like the light on
the
this.
lieutenant's purview. Then the lieutenant says, aye, once we're underway,
Whenever
and
they're open,
clear.
whenever
Their
they're done,
duties.
clear of duties.
Because I'm a nerd for,
I'll
leather
stand them this way.
decks.
Fantastic, and I'll go back to sleep.
So that big ass sword doesn't really screw
Oh.
decks.
After we get underway and Milo will try to stay out of the way, he actually will cast
So is that
invisibility,
fuck?
and he's just gonna walk around the ship looking at the various mechanisms for propelling this thing.
You just had
I don't know if there's an engine room, but whatever there is, he's gonna try to learn as much as he can about it.
Okay.
Not that
Okay,
we'll
sure.
all that, but basically he's just trying to gather information. And if he overhears anything along the way from the crew, he will take that into account.
All right. Which direction do you go? By the way, there's like a staircase going
That was the
down
captain
this
looks
direction as
like.
well.
So we are more towards the aft. If I remember correctly,
You're more towards the front of the ship, yeah.
the front of the ship. So I mean, he's walking from. He will go from the bow
Stop giving me
starboard
ideas,
side
damn it.
towards the aft or stern starboard side. So just around the front right of the boat to the back right of the boat to start with.
I like to imagine that this captain looks like the captain from Tintin, if you remember that.
The picture I sent is my dad, and that's just who. When I assume someone says the captain, I just assume of
It's
him.
a daily struggle to be good for him.
That in Discord. He's your old salt. He may be the first mate.
Memnon.
Yeah, so the captain from Tintin, but with like grayish hair. But yeah, so when the ship does get underway, the ramp comes back up, the gantry is secured, this hole in the side of the ship is sealed and secured. But instead of like sailing off like a ship that you would normally expect, there's some sort of vibration through the ship, and the ship actually lifts out of the gantry straight up instead of sailing off sideways, where it rises about 500 or 600 feet directly up into the air. You guys have seen this before, far in the distance. It's the first time you've ridden on one, though. And where it gets to like almost just underneath like the lowest level of cloud cover, and then something else happens to the ship, and the ship begins to build locomotion forwards, and you turn and start heading north. And you said you were heading down aft? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's heading from the front. He's gonna go along the right side of the boat towards the back.
When you get down into it quickly becomes apparent that you're on the top deck, and there are 3 floors. This not counting the deck of the ship, like the very top of the ship. There's 3 interior decks of the ship.
Yeah, he would try to go to one of the lower ones, so that because he just makes an assumption that that's where some of the more interesting things would be. He would stay out of didn't really care too much about storage. He wants to know what makes this thing tick.
All right, so
yeah.
So when you climb down to the bottom floor of the ship, you notice at the very, very front of the ship, so I guess this section at the front of the ship.
Say, she can grant anybody the wardenship, right?
Like the very front of the ship, at the very, very bottom, there is a room that is got the classic submarine, like the submarine circular hatchway. The hatchway is partially open at the moment. Actually, it is fully open at the moment, and there's a human being standing astride the hatchway, passing crates. So canisters is what I would call it. Tall metal boxes, about half a feet, maybe a foot wide, maybe half a feet wide, about 2 to 3 feet long. He's passing these canisters through the doorway, and someone else on the other side is taking them off him and then stacking them in neat little sockets or brackets on the side of the wall on each side. In the center of the room, so so basically they're stacking like this on each side of the room. In the center of the room, at the very top end, is a it's not a pit. It's a oh shit. What's it? It's like a bowl, right?
Okay.
It's it's an area that sinks down. Like there's like a circular staircase that goes down. It's about 5 feet wide, and you can catch sunlight coming up through whatever opening is there, and sitting at the tip of this at the bottom of this well of this bowl is a seat, a seat with an X-shaped harness. The seat's back is slightly towards you at the moment. It's turned to one side a little bit, and you can see foot pedals, like a bicycle's foot pedal, at the base of the seat. And in the center of this where the seat is, I'll actually draw it on a new doodle page because I want to do this a little bit of justice. So let's test out my doodle skills, okay? So it's like a so let's say this is the front of the ship, okay? And the room is like basically like that, right? And this is the doorway that you're essentially looking through. And then the sides are stacked with these boxes. And then obviously this side is stacked with boxes similar to that. There's some sort of like depression here. Is this making any sense?
Yeah, out of character, I'm imagining that this thing is like on the underside of World War II planes. It's like a gun in the underbelly.
And there's some sort of light source coming through from this direction. And there's a seat slightly turned towards one side. And it has, for lack of a better term, like bicycle foot pedals down at the bottom of the seat with like harness across the. And then on top of this bicycle foot pedal contraption is the biggest fucking gun that you've ever seen. This thing has 6 barrels. It doesn't seem to be any kind of rotary chamber like Obadiah's thing. Instead, on top of each of this barrel, sticking out in like a V-shaped pattern, are 4 brackets where you can only assume that some of these boxes on the walls would fit directly into. And this thing seems to have a little bit of a swivel, so it can turn in this depression.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got an idea what this is. It's pretty. He looks at the construction of it. He doesn't want to get too close or get in like the doorway where someone will accidentally bump into him.
There's someone in the doorway at the moment, so you're only able to basically look through it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's trying to like just from visual. He's trying to like figure out, oh, is that glass or what is that material? He'll spend some time in here, but he wants to get back to the room at some point, so he will examine the the cylinders. These are some kind of ammunition, I take it. And then
They're box, the ammo boxes essentially.
okay. And then he'll continue on his journey towards the
Okay.
south of the airship.
I'll get back to you. We'll jump to
You
Obadiah.
got it.
Obadiah,
Okay.
at some point there's a knock on your door,
Mhm.
and there's a female half elf that pokes her head through. She's got her hair tied back in like a bun.
Did you do this? Stealth.
And she
Shut
says,
up.
Lieutenant asked me, so the LT told me you wanted to see me?
Well, are you one of the sharpshooters?
Yes, they call us Sharpies.
Okay,
It's nothing to do with the ears.
Yeah. Well, that sounds kind of racist. I would never
Yes,
do
it
that.
is, extremely.
I want someone that appreciates a fine-tuned firearm to see me fire this. I have spent a lot of money and a lot of time developing a new rifle, and I wanted to see someone who appreciated it, see me fire it off the first time.
In here?
Well, obviously not here. I'd hopefully go to the bow.
Have you been in an airship before?
I have not.
So we kind of have rules, and we're not allowed to fire firearms until we're at least clear over the ocean.
Well, was it
It's, ammunition falling.
Hey, I don't understand where I'm at currently. And I'll pull out the revenge, kind of plop it like butt first on the ground. It's like 2 foot high, and it's like a ridiculously huge firearm, and just kind of gauge her like reaction to this ridiculous gun she'd just seen.
She looks interested, like she's seen something, and she looks like she kind of like leans closer and examines it from different angles, and she says, "I can see that it used to be a Sniper rifle, but
Yeah, no, it's been adjusted from a Sniper rifle it's nothing on this. It's completely silent outside of the bullet traveling through the sound, and it is huge. Just whenever I'm available to fire a shot from the bow, we've got a week. I'm assuming it'll be available whenever.
why would you want your firearm to be silent?"
Well, it's better.
5 minutes.
I find myself in the sewers a lot, and as you can see, I'm a part of a group, and none of them appreciate the sound of an amazing shot going off as much as I do. They complain about it. Oh, my ears hurt so much.
I mean,
And
they're in
I
the
was
same.
in
I think they're in
favor.
the same room as you.
Well, 1 or 2 at least. I mean, Arthur's not going to deny it. He hates the sound of the firearm going off.
He has never complained though.
Yeah, but come on now.
No,
You've
the
grimaced.
original first Condom
I
was
mean,
first.
half the purpose of a firearm is to intimidate your enemies. With
No. Listen. You can intimidate
No,
your
all this
enemies
is
from when it hits. If you need to intimidate your enemy from the shot itself, you don't understand
sausage.
firearms.
Sausage
I
tastes
just
like the
whenever
original,
we're
intestine line.
far enough away where I can take a shot or 2 with this and actually hit possibly a target, I'd like to do that because I've just made this and I'm chomping at the bit to fire it, but I don't want to upset the captain.
Okay,
Well, once
I
we're
think
out
this should be
over
one
the
of
ocean,
decisions. How many
we typically
missions
have
should,
a couple of days where we
Memnon
cycle the weapons. So we call it. So just to check that everything is in working order. So if you want to play around with this thing, then I'm sure there'd be no objections.
That would be fantastic. And just so you know, Kev, how many would take like what 1 day to make the 100 rounds?
You're probably taking most of the full day, yeah.
And then after that, I'm going to kind of like take I kind of want to make like a wrist.
You're making 100 rounds, right?
Yeah,
You're keeping most of the 100 rounds in your bag of holding, yes?
absolutely.
Because these rounds are fucking heavy. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm I'm putting as many as I can on my bandoliers, but out of the other ones,
I'd say you'd be able to fit about 20 on your bandoliers.
that's then I'll make 60. 20 on
Like
the
I said,
bandolier.
Like I said, these are like 50 cal rounds.
Yeah, so I'll put 20 of them in the bandolier and 40 in the bag of holding. I mean, 40 can't be more than 500 pounds.
No, it's not more than 500 pounds. But I think I weighed it out that like
It would probably honestly depend on the danger.
so each bullet itself is about
I felt we could stay
uh,
at least somewhat relatively hidden.
what was it, like 2,000 grams or something.
Safe, but I mean, we're not going to get discovered by like 4 hill giants or
I'm not sure. I am not a mather.
It's basically a 50 cal bullet, right?
Yeah, essentially.
I know I have enough to make 100, but I want to make at least. Well, if I can't make 100, I thought I'd put like the rest in the bag, but I won't overload the
No,
bag.
you can make 100. You just have to carry most of your ammunition.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna put most of them in the bag, and then when I'm done making that, I want to make like a single like a wrist thing, based off of the hypodermic thing, the potion shooter,
so it's probably one of those.
so I can put it on my wrist and take a single shot like at 20 to 40 feet. Schematically, obviously not actually making the schematics for it.
It's not really in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, we
Because
probably
you
would
don't know how to
just
power
sort of
such a thing.
scattered the bullet.
Well, that's fair. Okay, then I won't do that.
Not
Yeah, for maybe
not have it be
however long it
lethal.
took us to basically
Yeah, I'm
Because like that thing
Alright.
is magically powered,
supply whatever.
whereas you would have to use propellant.
Okay.
Wow.
Well then, I'm gonna basically spend as much time as I can, like the first day making the 100 rounds, most of them in the bag, and then the rest of the trip working on a non-lethal option.
10 rounds weighs about 4 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'll put the 20 on the bandolier, the rest in my bag, and then spend the rest of the trip, besides when I'm actually getting fired off at the bow, working on a non-lethal option, like a hidden wrist shot that's not very far, but what I have to do to make, because I need a non-lethal option.
And then
Obviously, it has nothing to do with
we
the
get
ridiculous Griswold revenge, but like, like a Black Widow single shot from the wrist.
After that first mission, when we're at home taking a break,
You know what's a non-lethal option?
His first
Not even the rifle butt. Like if I was a rifle butt someone with this goddamn gun, they would die.
No fumbling.
Non-lethal option would be a club.
I think at that point they both.
Well, I want a distance one because I'm a distance guy. So
A gun that shoots a club.
Well, there is always the dart gun.
yeah, like I want to basically turn the dart gun like into a single shot wrist shot.
I'm probably not gonna say that there's.
Like I said, the dart gun operates through magical. It operates through mundane principles, but its powering mechanism is
At some
magical.
point he would have.
Obi wants the night gun.
Not even that. I want like, well, yeah, basically a single shot, like probably not very far range. That or a bolo that like kind of wraps up the legs so they can't get away. I just want a non-lethal option that is not obviously Griswold's revenge because there's nothing non-lethal about this gun.
So anyway, we leave the session with this airship, with you traveling on this airship over the horizon as the sun goes down. Some of you further away from. I don't know how many of you have been this far
Nope.
out of Helios.
Obi is definitely not.
I doubt that Milo has.
He's very sad that he left Marmaduke in basically the lap of luxury.
Oh god, 37.
And as the sun goes down and darkness claims the landscape, you can see Helios actually glowing like a beacon in the dusk on the horizon as you slowly pass over
Thalia will tell Milo to remember this so they can make an illusion of it.
And we'll pick up next time.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Kev. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you guys had fun.
Oh god.
Just need like a beanbag gun that knocks people out. Well, maybe with the no, I don't want to return the shotgun to that. I like the shotgun to be lethal.
Back. I think it should be more than 5.
Maybe you should just leave the non-lethal part to other people's.
I probably should, but I like to have that option because like I can't shoot someone's leg off and they not die with this new gun. Because if I shoot the leg off, everything below the waist is going against the wall.
Ken hates you.
So I'll give you guys a sneak preview. Not a really sneak preview, but a couple of questions. Are you guys interested at all in
Because he now knows that
kind
you're
of a
going to-
more? I wanted to test out Matt Kilville's kind of like mass combat rules. Whereas like instead of controlling single characters, you also
This is
control
kind of
like
around the Dark Ages, right?
a unit.
That'd be
Well,
interesting.
If you're gonna give me all the sniper rifle guys, I'm down for that.
And then basically they each have their own, essentially their own stat block. They have their own stat block. They have their own HP, and the HP is actually pretty low considering like it's group health, not HP, and it's modeled more on morale than it is actual physical health. Are you? It's so think of it more like instead of playing, introducing strategy elements into it rather than simply it just being like a single RPG. Does that sound at all interesting to you guys? Or do
I
you-
think it'd be a lot of fun if it's in the right.
We can
Yeah,
always
I-
do a mock battle just to see how it would run on another day if you want.
That's
Yeah,
usually the
that's
smart thing, just so we get a full understanding of it.
If they lost everything to help them out.
Okay.
This way we can work out a little bit of the kinks, or if we have any questions, they're answered at that time.
Yeah. I mean, it won't be anything complicated.
I'm just
I'll
thinking about
explain
that
the
expression
basic
struck me.
rules. Basically, like you'll have like an action to do something as your character, like normal,
But yeah, as far as
um,
actual family goes,
and then
I
like
would-
your each like group unit will have probably one or two like abilities, and then they have certain like features and perks, and you can decide on your turn what they want to do, or basically what you're telling them to do. Okay, thank you. That's going to be so useful, by the way.
About that kind of.
Probably the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Which
I
I gave
don't
you
know
guys
why.
all the link last week.
I think it could be a lot of fun if it's done right. I mean, I like the idea.
So basically, like maybe Obadiah will control the Sharpies.
She said, "Fuck your
Someone will control the heavies.
Yeah, and then you would have like, I'm assuming there'd be a couple of healers on board. Someone has to control the captain and his. Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
basically you're taking a single person and giving them a group. It's mass affecting it to a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
It'd be cool.
I think it'd be fun. I like to control the Sharpies. That's just me.
I like that.
So you later meet all three of the Sharpies. There are 2 half elves in the health.
Yeah, but Graham was.
I just kind of want to show off the ridiculous that is Griswold.
And they all are armed with sniper rifles and like shortened martinis.
I got rid of that martini. It was fun, but and I just kind of wanted to take like a single shot at something and see what like if there's like something living on the water. Like I'm not necessarily saying like a killer whale, but a whale that's breaching or a dolphin. I want to shoot it and see if it explodes.
Go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Oh, Let me reopen it. You know what? If they're watching me, and it's been a while, I'm going to use a grit. Because he would. He wants to have the most shot chance of exploding something. So it's at
It's
advantage.
basically, hey, this one tribe over there said they took me in, so yeah. And then they stab him with spears, and then
That's so much fucking damage.
If a whale, or like I kill a whale or a dolphin explodes,
And that's
I want them to see that.
you have another trial by stone.
I like the fact that the damage matches the roll on disadvantage.
So much fucking damage. By the way, the HP is 160, not 80.
Yeah, I'm on this. I was just about to ask that. Yeah, exactly. If it just explodes, I'm like, this is the future,
We're a
gentlemen.
nomadic tribe.
And
We
madam.
would have tattoos to
I'm not
symbolize
sexist.
certain life events, wouldn't we?
Oh, I just noticed something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like the whole tribal thing.
They have higher attack modifier than you.
Well, aren't them fancy?
Yeah, that's
Whatever.
fine. So
They're-
so once you guys run out onto the ocean, you guys start testing the various weapon systems, and it quickly becomes
Okay, so
apparent
it's a whole
to you
tribal mouth-to-mouth thing.
that although your rifle obviously is a work of art, you get the impression that they are probably more technically proficient than you.
What a bunch of twats. I haven't even used sharpshooter. Thank you very much.
It's almost like
So that actually really hurt us, and we're like,
as
okay,
if
he joined.
you're an
Let's go.
enthusiast and this is their job.
I'm sorry. Would you like me to roll sharpshooter advantage as well? Because I
It's-
will.
Like I said, it's not so much the damage.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just failed all the damage rolls, and it was still ridiculous.
No, it's like I said,
Your bluff skills.
it's not the rifle. Like your rifle far outdoes theirs. Like far outdoes theirs. It's I
Graham?
guess like the technical skill level. So basically, your rifle is more dangerous, but they are better
He
shots.
was praying to her as well.
Whatever. You know what? I don't need these. Were they halflings and like
I mean,
an elf?
No, two half elves and elf.
Light to why he's so depressed
What do
and,
they
like,
know?
just nothing
They're fucking
matters.
elves.
Fuck my life.
They're fucking elves.
That's 160.
Thanks for the game, Kev. I'm gonna head out.
No worries.
Your goddamn elves, they don't know.
I mean, technically,
That was even my
once
best
again,
shot.
Leon had a hand in that.
It's mostly purely because of the fact that they have 18 decks.
Because,
Well,
Cain was
oh,
one of the
I'm
Cain's, like,
sorry.
"You're supposed to be
I-
perfectly single
what's their
with
wisdom
love,
at?
Blah blah blah. Bullshit.
Probably
And
not as
everybody's
high.
like, oh wait.
Yeah, that's why I get more advantage shots, so they can go to hell. I thought I was thinking that the 18 decks, but you know what? Wisdom is a
So salty.
yeah, salty as the sea. I'll admit to that. That's pretty fair. I think they're better than me. You guys ain't elves. So is my armor it's the +1 constable's vest? Is that attuned?
Yeah, would have been attuned basically the day
So
after. you bought it.
basically, my attuned are the vest, the gun, and my new ring.
Yep.
So if they want me to attune to this
I honestly
thing
feel like I've
with
seen
the
it
cold,
probably say
nope,
this
I can't.
before.
I don't have any. I'll take the regular cloak. Alright, homie. I'll holler at you later. Thanks for the game. I had a blast. I'm looking forward to next Monday.
So salty.
Well, they think they're better than me, but fucking elves. What do
They're elves. They always think they're
Yeah,
better.
they think that, yeah, you know what? Fucking sharp ears, dagger ears, can go fuck themselves. Think they're better than me. Grumble, grumble.
Yeah, they're doing weird stuff like shooting seagulls out of the sky.
If I use
I'm sorry, I'm exploding whales. You kill your goddamn birds. Did you see that whale? He's fucking everywhere.
So
think
I have
you're
it,
better
but
than
it's
me.
just like completely inert.
Wow, so much salt.